Well, everybody. We ran a poll on the Shank Club NFL Twitter feed asking, should we do another show? And funnily enough, we had lots of yeses, some no's, but most was piss off. Well, unfortunately, motherfuckers, the Shank Club NFL is back and we are taking names. Carl, hit it. Welcome. We are the Shank Club NFL. You can't keep a good man down, and the Shank Club NFL is back. We are back now to stay. We got plenty to talk about today. Got a great show next week. We've got the return of four-time Super Bowl champion Jesse Sapolo, which I'm really looking forward to as well. Can't wait for that next week. But we got lots to get into today. Plenty of guests waiting to come on. Let's bring on my sidekick now, Carl. I almost caught you out then, didn't I? How are you?
Nearly. Good afternoon, mate. Yeah, it's good to finally be back. Good to finally be back at long last. Slight little layoff for a couple of weeks, but yeah, we got the gang back together again, so all good.
Definitely. I had to clear out the bunker, as people can see, but I'm still huddled up in a bloody corner with a heater on because it's freezing. But yeah, it's good to be back. How have you been the last couple of weeks? You been good?
Yeah, not bad at all. I've released I've started to do NFL Weekly videos on my channel. Obviously, one of our guests we got on today, he was on with me on Wednesday, basically going through the franchise tag and who got tagged, who got signed, and who's moving on, this, that, and the other. So yeah, it's been very productive week.
Awesome. Excellent. Don't forget, if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter, then make sure you do. So hit that like and subscribe button. Right, we've got a new guest to bring on. First time on. Fellow 49er fan. Of course, I've got to gang up with the Niner fans. I've got the Nothing But Niners on. I've got the Shanahan on. So let's bring on Danny.
Hey, how you doing?
Fellow 49er fan.
As you can probably tell, yeah?
Well,
yeah. I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Thanks for having me on. Nice to see you, meet you, and do this live thing.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you on. As I say, we've got lots to talk about. So let's rattle off former Mr. Smug, maybe Mr. Smug again soon, but I don't know how they're going to do without any offensive line. Live from Kansas City. Scott, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we're good.
All good, buddy. All good.
And now let's bring on the one and only pantomime draft villain, Craig from UK Draft. How are you?
Am I ever going to shake that tag? Or am I just forever more the pantomime villain of the Shank Club?
Until you change the corners on the 9th and 10th pick, then the answer is a straightforward yes, you are still the villain.
Yeah, and I want someone decent at 12, and I don't want a quarterback, but that's another story. I know you did put your latest mock draft out. I think it was a week ago or something. So yeah, if we get a chance, we'll go over that. But good to have you along, Craig.
Pleasure to be here, Nick. Good to be back.
Awesome. And now, the one and only Ivan Hellhound. How are you, sir?
Not too bad, thanks. Thanks for having me back. Good to be back. Looking forward to the draft. Looking forward to free agency next week.
Yeah, it should be interesting. There's been a few moves from a few teams, which we're obviously going to get into very shortly. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting time. I do like a bit of free agency frenzy, I must admit. It's always very interesting. And last but not least, the fifth Beatle, aka the Shark Man. Shark, how are you, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. Still hyped. Looking forward to next week, like you said. So yeah, I'll be all right.
Are you? Have you had a return to university yet?
As in physically,
Yes.
or no, no. I got the email a couple of weeks back saying that despite the fact the regulations are changing, we're completing the year online because it's only a business course, so it's more people with like laboratories and engineering who need to use good software or actually will benefit from in person. We can sort of manage online.
Right.
So.
Oh, well, that's cool. So, because I know obviously it's all education's been up in the air and everything, so it's good that you're still able to carry on with your degree and all that kind of stuff. Because I guess a lot of people, especially the lower people with A levels and GCSEs and all that kind of thing, has been pretty much screwed, hasn't it? So it's good that you can actually carry on and do what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Carl. Now you prepared this list. I've sent it to everybody.
Yeah.
So let's see if anybody's actually ready. I've actually got mine here. I haven't
You got
read
it.
but
You
I
even
wish
printed
I'd
it off.
I had to print it off.
That's old school.
I had to. And I'll tell you for why, because I've got a wireless printer and someone was upstairs using the stuff in the study, so I just had to press the print button and scare them because I like doing that because it amuses me. So yeah, so I printed mine off. So let's sort of go a bit left field because I firstly want to talk about Cam Newton signing back with the Patriots because I think that's hilarious.
Brilliant.
Get ready for another losing season, Carl. Now, I know you wanted to bring that up.
Hang on, can I just want to just check that I'm not in a dream. So bear me a minute, a second. No, it's not a fucking dream.
At least you've got your banging head on the table ready for next season.
Yeah, pretty much, mate.
I think they're called nightmares. I think that's what the word you're looking for.
I do love how Cam Newton turned Bill Belichick into Jeff Fisher.
Shots fired early from the Shark.
Shots fired already. Okay.
What
we all know where the success was.
Obviously, you've said that you explained why this was the best and only option. Bearing in mind, there were a lot of rumours floating around that the Patriots were kicking the tires on, obviously, Jimmy G from the Niners. I don't know how far down the road that went, but why was that the best and only option when you have got other QBs that are going to be available coming up? And I'm not talking about in the draft specifically, I'm talking free agency. So why was that the best bet?
Because obviously it's another cheap deal. So it's basically, I've done the math on this. It's basically a $5 million contract for a year, with it could be going up to 14 million in incentives. That basically, if he reaches the Pro Bowl, is all pro, goes to the Super Bowl, that sort of thing, then he'll get that full lot of money. But if we don't even make the playoffs, then he'll just get the 5 million, and that will be that.
I think we've got different uses of the word just. Just the 5 million, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for in your instance, yeah.
What was his contract this past season? Wasn't it $1 million with incentives?
It was just over $1 million.
And do you honestly think that he's earned a $5 million contract based on the shit that he did last season?
A $5 million contract is actually still pretty cheap if you look at it.
For a quarterback, definitely.
Well, he's not. Well, I reserve. I said, if you all remember, way back, Carl, when you first came on, that Cam Newton wasn't going to do shit and they were going to be awful, and it got borne out. So I don't see what's going to improve. Honestly, I know you've got a. Did you get a left tackle? I can't remember because you just
Trent Brown. We got Trent Brown for pennies on the dollar from the Raiders, so it's a good
Which
start.
is fair enough, but again, it's not. Hang on, let me just bring in my man, JV. How are you?
What's happening, gentlemen? What's cracking?
Hello, John.
Right,
How are
John.
you guys?
Hey.
Craig, Ivan, how you doing? Nick,
Good.
Carl, Danny, what's new?
Hey, man.
Scott, my brother, what's going on over there?
What's up, John?
Shark, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad.
Good. Good to be here, fellas. Let's do it. I've been listening along.
So, okay, so let's go round and let's talk about this Cam Newton. So, Carl, you think it's a good move? Can you see him elevate his play from last year, or is it because obviously again we've heard N'Keal Harry might be on the move?
Well, N'Keal Harry is a different example because he hasn't really done a lot, and to be honest, we can't draft wide receivers in the first round anyway. The last time we drafted a better receiver, excluding Julian Edelman, was Malcolm Mitchell, and unfortunately, he had his career cut short. Cam's one more year removed from having shoulder surgery. Now, when a quarterback has an ACL tear, ankle ligament damage, or a torn shoulder or rotator cuff, it's going to take them time to get back into the flow of things. You look at quarterbacks that have had bad injuries like this. Derek Carr went down for a broken leg. It took him 2 years to finally get back to how he used to be playing at a proper at playoff level. We make up excuses the fact that the Patriots had Cam Newton couldn't throw to anybody. Well, he couldn't throw anybody to anybody. Julian Edelman, Jacoby Myers. That's all you had, and they had the worst receiving core in the NFL. You can forget about the New York Jets and Jacksonville and all that. We had the worst receiving core in the NFL by a country fucking mile. The likes of because of the pandemic, every team had the same problem. So no OTAs, no mini camp. You had a small training camp. You didn't have preseason, and Cam came into the Patriots 6 weeks prior to the league starting. So used to with one of the most difficult playbooks to understand. It was a tall order to start with anyway. Bearing in mind, during that season, yes, he didn't have the best of season. He threw for 8. He had 8 passing touchdowns, 10 interceptions, but he still rushed for a career high 12 touchdowns since his rookie season. He had also had his second best passing completion of his career, 65.8%. Patriots had the hardest schedule for last season. They went 7-9. We won 3 games against teams over 500. We beat the Dolphins, we beat the Ravens, and we also beat. I'm trying to think of it, and we also beat the Arizona Cardinals as well. And just to throw fuel to the fire here regarding Ivans, tied with the Browns, who also only beat teams over 500 last year. When you beat the Tennessee Titans, the Indianapolis Colts, and Week 17 against the Steelers, even though that was pretty much a dead rubber match. Yeah, we've always said that Cam Newton's mechanics has been off. It was off this season. You go back through his career with Carolina and even into his college days at Auburn. He always had the same sort of mechanical throw. There's always a hitch in his shoulder as he's ready to release the ball. So it's not. This isn't old news at all. His decision making was awful sometimes and erratic. Wasn't going through his reads properly. And after a strong start to a season, if you go back to week 2 against Seattle, he was pretty outstanding. He threw for over 350 yards. He was absolutely outstanding in that game. Got COVID. Obviously, couldn't play against the Kansas City Chiefs. Came back in week 5 against Denver. Was in a COVID haze. I'll explain this to you right now. My brother has just had his COVID jab. For a straight week, he felt like absolute awful. He felt absolute awful. So you have to put that into perspective as well.
Miles Garrett was affected by it as well for a good chunk of the season.
Exactly, prime example. And then week 6, he didn't play that great against your 49ers, but I'll make the exception that the 49ers ran us into the ground. I'll take that. I'll take that as a straight up defeat. And a lot of people
hope so, because we absolutely kicked your ass, and that was probably
You
the
did.
only team we kicked their ass all season.
You did, and fair play to you. Look, a lot of people have been quite excited, and a lot of people have been extremely pissed off about all of this. Okay, Cam was the only quarterback moving forward because there was nothing on the free agent market that would entice Bill Belichick. There was nothing on there. The likes of Ryan Fitzpatrick, Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston, they would have been interesting, but not something that would wow us, not something that would wow the fans. As we talked about Jimmy G earlier on, the likes of Jimmy G coming back to New England, well, now it's all been confirmed. It was nothing more than a pipe dream. And the talk of trading for Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson, well, that was about as realistic as the Detroit Tigers winning the World Series this season. Guess what? Never going to happen. Belichick, the GM, he's now on the hot seat. He has to give Cam the weapons he needs to bring this team back to the playoffs or back to relevance. 62 million in cap space now. He has got absolutely no excuses now in not helping this team. And the fact that he's doubled down by re-signing Cam is a statement that he likes him. He likes this guy wanting to go forward. He needs an off season. He needs to learn the playbook. Give him time. All I will say is New England will not just sit back and just let Cam Newton take over. They will go for a quarterback in the draft now. Trading up to get someone like Trey Lance or Justin Fields now looks even more probable. Mac Jones would be the worst case scenario, but the age of the statue quarterback is officially dead. The only person that can get away with it now is Tom Brady. Big Ben can't shrug off defenders like he used to anymore. It's all on Bill to make the team stronger, and it's all on Newton to prove that he is not a washed-up QB any longer.
And breathe, Carl. Breathe.
I'm done.
Breathe. You sounded like
Can
me
I-
a few years ago defending Alex Smith when everyone wanted him out.
Mm.
And yeah. Oh, sorry, Carl. All I heard was a load of white noise. You trying to convince yourself, but I don't think others are. Belichick wanted Jimmy back. Lynch said, "Nah, bro, we rolling with Jimmy," and that another thing is going to really piss off a lot of 49er fans. Not me personally, because I think
the Patriots contacted the 49ers regarding of Jimmy G. They kicked the tires on him, but they couldn't come to any sort of deal. So that officially died.
Which
I
I'm
wouldn't-
glad
I wouldn't
about.
go that
'Cause
far,
I'm rolling.
That
I'm
was their
rolling
plan
with
A.
Jimmy.
That was their plan A. It was Jimmy G going for it was Jimmy G going forward. Now that obviously didn't happen, they went back to Cam. That was their second option. Plan C is getting someone in the draft. It was never going to be someone off free agency. It was either going to be Cam, Jimmy, or it was going to be someone coming off the draft board.
But they've got themselves in this situation just like the Steelers, haven't they? Because they've been relying upon one quarterback for so long, and they don't have a backup. They sell their backup, they give their backup to the 49ers, and then they get rid of their main guy. So they're in trouble because they haven't planned to replace Tom Brady, and the Steelers are in the same possession.
No, absolutely.
The Steelers. Don't get me started on the Steelers. Craig, go ahead, mate.
I just want to disagree with. I agree with Carl in a certain respect. I think it's a good deal for the Patriots to have done. You're talking about $3.5 million guaranteed. It's not an expensive contract for a guy who has been a starter and started this year and led his team to a 7-9 season off the back of a very difficult off season. But I also don't think that re-signing Cam means that the trade market is closed. I think if anything, if they have spoken to the 49ers about Jimmy G, potentially they're being quoted a price that Belichick doesn't like at the moment, and having nobody under contract means the 49, if that trade discussion is happening, the 49ers are sitting there going, well, you've got nobody. You haven't got, you need our guy more than we want to give him away. So give us 3 first-round picks or whatever. Now with a guy that Belichick can turn around and go, you know what? I'm happy to roll with Cam. That's fine. I can live with it. He can walk away from those trade discussions and come back when the price goes down. Maybe when the 49ers draft somebody or go ahead and pick up Sam Darnold or whatever. Or maybe they do just stand pat and you do end up with Cam. But I don't think this, that contract and this signing doesn't shut off the trade market necessarily for me.
It's certainly going to be interesting. Danny, what's your take on Cam Newton? Signing that contract, and B, would you have signed him based on his play last season?
I think if you're looking at the stats, it's no. But like you were saying, Carl, there's so much other stuff going on. I think it raises a question for me. Like, how long left does Belichick have? And Carl, I mean, you're obviously more knowledgeable on the Patriots than me. We all know Belichick's been around in coaching for decades now. It doesn't scream like a win now move, but neither does moving up and drafting like one of the top 4 hyped quarterbacks. So I'm just kind of curious, is this the best opportunity to do what Belichick wants to do in his last few years? Or am I assuming something that isn't real there? Am I jumping to conclusions? I mean, how long does Belichick have left, do you think?
I think Belichick has got either one of 2 things on his mind. He either wants to win another Super Bowl to prove that he can win without Brady, or the other one, he wants to overtake Don Shula's winning record as a coach. I believe he's something like 25 games behind Don Shula at this moment in time. So those are the two options. But I believe, but Bill is a winning coach. He wants another Super Bowl to prove that he can do it without Brady. Brady's managed to do it without Bill. Now it's Bill Belichick's turn.
Got to prove it.
And I think the pressure's going to be on Cam the pressure is going to be on Cam this year just to see, that last year so much had happened and you have to sort of like give him a pass. If he ends up doing it again this season, then we know that he wasn't very good. With regards to Bill Belichick, the GM, that's why I said he's on the hot seat. 62 million cap. You've got the money now to go out and get a Hunter Henry, a Curtis Samuel, Allen Robinson. You've got an opportunity now to get these players in. And there's another reason why you bring Cam Newton in. He's an attraction. He will bring the players on. Who did he play with at Carolina? Curtis Samuel.
I think as well, the idea of, you could go there. Cam, he's got the reputation, statistics and everything aside, he's still Cam Newton. He'll still rip his shirt open at the end of a touchdown. He'll still get fans watching, and players might go, how cool would it be to win that Super Bowl without Brady, to be on that team that did it without Brady? We did it with Cam. We didn't need Brady. That kind of hype, the egos and things like that could go around it. So I think it makes sense financially. I think that's, you're right. That it's such a big deal, such a massive deal. That's my technique. There you go. How's that?
Yeah.
Blimey, I didn't realise we were getting another Cam apologist on here. Oh, dear. Dion.
You didn't ask.
Good, my brother.
Hey, what's going on, man? How y'all doing?
Hi, Dion.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning to everyone.
Hey,
man, I'm good. My only question is, Mr. Rogers, what the hell are y'all doing? What the hell are y'all doing? You know it better than me. Why? Why would you cut your left and your right tackle? And then tell Pat.
That's the next segment. That's the next segment coming up, Dion. So we'll get to that in a bit.
Yes,
Hold
sir.
your water, Dion, because I've got to make Mr. Smug squirm a bit more before we get onto that. Scott, Cam Newton, fact, fiction. What do you think next year?
I said before last year I didn't think he really had much left and that he was going to be very good, and he wasn't. And I don't think another year he's going to get dramatically better. Maybe if he gets used to the system, and maybe if they can get him a couple more weapons, he gets a little bit better. But, if you're in the position of you're taking that because there's nothing else out there, then you're not in a very good spot. Be interesting to see. You know, they're getting a lot of players back on defense because they
opt outs.
you know, and that's been kind of their formula anyway, right? Was a lot of you know, play really good defense and do enough offensively to win. So I mean, I really wasn't surprised because, like Carl said, there's not much out there. Myself, I don't know. I mean, Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton's a better passer than Cam Newton. I don't think that's even really a question.
The Cowboys' weapons are. I'll say this now: the Cowboys' weapons are 50 times better than what the shit we had on the field last season. And Andy Dalton could. How many games did Andy Dalton win with the Cowboys last year? Someone please explain that.
Well, he only played a couple games because he got hurt, right, last year.
Doesn't matter. Anytime he played, he should have been able to do everything. You had CeeDee Lamb. You had Michael Gallup. You know what I'm saying? You still had, I think you had Zeke for a little bit. Like the whole
Blake
point
Jarwin.
is exactly like he had the opportunity to be able to do things. I'm sorry, Andy Dalton is not a better passer. He's not a better passer.
4,000 passing yard seasons. I don't. Yeah, but with the Bengals, he was.
Didn't Cam Newton win an MVP?
And he never. Every year. He's a better passer than Cam Newton. That's not even an argument. That's not even debatable. You go look at the numbers. You go look. Cam Newton he's never been all that accurate of a passer. He's never been that good at passing the ball. When he was with Carolina, what he did really well was he ran the ball a lot, and he had that threat of running, and that kept defenses on their heels, which helped him mask some of his deficiencies as a passer. But once injuries and age started catching up with him, and he couldn't run like he used to, and defenses didn't have to respect that, then he really started, you notice the fall off. And like last year, I mean, he rushed for twice as many touchdowns as he threw for. I don't want to hear about weapons. I mean, there's plenty of guys that have gone out there, and I mean, Lamar Jackson, they can figure out a way for him to throw 5-yard, 25 5-yard touchdown passes. So, yeah, I don't think he's the answer long term. I think Carl kind of got hit the nail on the head when he said they looked around. He was really the best of what there was out there because there wasn't a lot out there in their minds. So they went with him. He's familiar with the system, but yeah, I don't see them as a serious contender with Cam Newton.
I mean, Jameis Winston, I wouldn't have a problem with. The only thing is, I do not want to see another documentary the following season on 30 for 30 again. I don't want to see it again.
Trust me, you wouldn't want Jameis Winston. You would not want that.
Well, that's the Saints' problem to deal with now. So,
oh, ain't it just? It's beautiful.
And I can't believe you're all knocking the ginger assassin, my man. Especially
he played 11 games and threw for over 2,000 yards last year. Threw 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions.
Are you talking about the ginger?
An even worse QBR than Cam. So
you talking about the ginger ninja?
Basically, yeah.
The ginger assassin, definitely.
Let me tell you this: at the end of the day, where it counts, if you're not winning playoff games and getting to Super Bowls, you mean nothing. I don't care how many. I'll tell you this: one of the greatest regular season quarterbacks ever was Peyton Manning. He was trash in the playoffs, and you can't tell me different. He only won He won that Super Bowl in Denver because of that defense.
And
then look at him all the other years.
Preach
his entire time in Indianapolis.
I don't care. I don't care if you had a garbage defense. If you one thing that always gets put on in NFL simply is you have to make the best of a bad situation. And what happened is Peyton Manning could turn a nobody into a somebody when it came to a receiver. We've seen this happen. But for me, I don't care if your defense is trash, make your offense that much better. Peyton Manning literally spoke another language and made his offensive line learn Gaelic so that the defense wouldn't know what they were calling. They wouldn't know what plays he was calling out. I'm not giving anybody any excuses, period. Peyton Manning was a great regular season quarterback. With him, you knew you were going to the playoffs. But at the end of the day, in the playoffs, 2 Super Bowls.
He's got a 0.5. He went 13-13 in playoff games. That's 13
I'm
times
just-
you've lost. That's 13 times you failed to win the Super Bowl.
I'm just saying.
That's very, very interesting. Craig, what do you make of Cam Newton going back to New England? Improve them? Not going to move them? What do you think?
As I said before, I don't think it changes. I don't think it changes the outlook. I think they will continue to look for an upgrade on Cam Newton. This contract doesn't stop them from doing that, and we know what Cam's failures are. We know what he can and can't do, and if they are stuck with him, they will find a way with him having much more time to learn the playbook, much more time to learn the system. They will find a way to try and make that offense better with him in it. But I will be really, really surprised if they aren't out there looking for someone better, whether that is, through a trade or in the draft. It wouldn't shock me at all.
I think it'll be interesting as well with obviously the players that are coming back that were COVID exempt this last season on their defense, as to whether that will mask what happens on the offensive side of the ball as well. What do you think, Ivan?
Well, I'm not a great fan of Cam, so I think it's just a stopgap. His college career, he did very well, but that's because he's so big. He was just able to bulldoze his way through defenses. He's run his course in the NFL, I think. I'm more with Scott on this one. I think if you look at his Super Bowl appearance with the Panthers, I personally think he was a large part to blame for their defeat in that Super Bowl, because he was so arrogant 2 weeks before the game and partying and all the rest of it, and he's not a leader. So I cannot see anything other than him being a stopgap for the Patriots while they find someone they need in the longer term, whoever that may be. They're in a tricky position, so I don't see that they're likely to be able to trade up to get someone they want in the draft. So yeah, be interesting to see how it pans out. But I don't think they're going anywhere with Cam Newton. But I don't think they're likely to this year anyway. The Patriots are a franchise now that is trying to get themselves into a better position over the next 2-3 years, as opposed to trying to make any moves this year. So, it is what it is for the Patriots, and he's, as a fill-in, is as good as anyone else, I suppose.
See, that's the thing as well. I think that, and for me personally, does put my nose out of joint. The old Cam was an arrogant piece of shit. And he's now come back down to earth a bit, where he isn't that player anymore. And, I think he needs to, if he doesn't do it this year, I still think he's washed up personally. And if he doesn't do it, this is like shit or bust for him and Belichick. Because, of course, as you know,
it's not bust for Belichick, the coach, but it will be bust for Belichick, the GM, because he has to help. He has to help Cam in the offseason. If he doesn't, then the firing line for him being GM is not out of the question. But as a coach, no one can disregard the coach, Bill Belichick. You can't.
No, I agree. But a lot of people are kind of, and Shark knows this, obviously, with what happened with Tom Brady. The questions are going to be asked. Was it Belichick? Was it Brady? Was it a mixture of both? And kind of Brady has stuck 2 fingers up at his old coach.
Yeah, Brady's Brady has drawn first blood.
What's signed, I believe, is Brady and the Buccaneers went to Tampa Bay's system of defense and short passes and game. They went to the New England system to win the Super Bowl. Like, you look at Tom Brady said that halfway they were making him try to force the ball down the field the first part of the year, and it really wasn't working that well. And he went, and Bruce Arians kind of said, yeah, Tom Brady, I've kind of been letting him coach me a little bit and kind of letting him, and we've gone back to what he's comfortable with. And that's when they took off and got better and got in their playoff runs. So I find that so fascinating, and almost like, I wonder if Bill Belichick's sitting there thinking, hey, you did exactly what you did with me. You wrote a really good defense and a simple offensive game plan and short to intermediate passing.
And a good running game
to win. Yeah, I mean, that
was the coup. That was the coup de grace at the end of all this. You know, the running game. You had Ronald Jones already. You had Shady McCoy, but he keeps on dropping. But he keeps on dropping passes all the time. So bringing Leonard Fournette in, that was an outstanding move on Brady's part. Plus, he brought AB to Tampa Bay, even though Bruce Arians didn't want him to, and obviously bringing back Gronkowski, not the Gronkowski we know, but he was still good enough. I think the best game we saw Gronk play was not in the Super Bowl. It was actually in the wild card round against Washington. Yeah, just stopping Chase Young all the time.
Tampa Bay secondary is what, in my opinion, is what won them that Super Bowl. Yeah, they need, they've got good offense players, but if they didn't have that secondary that they had, they weren't stopping the Chiefs, and they needed that fast-paced, hard-hitting secondary, dime defense, and that's what won them the Super Bowl.
Actually, you holding that up, Sharp, reminds me I've actually got some dishcloths in the washing machine that I'll put on the radiators after we finished.
And we've got a Super Bowl win against the Chiefs.
Anytime you hold something up like that, Sharp.
Which offered about the same,
John,
which you faced against the Chiefs, which had an offense.
John, what are your thoughts on Cam Newton re-signing?
I mean, I like it. I think it's serviceable at the time. I don't know if he's a long-term solution, but I think he's starting to figure it out. I mean, he went 5-4 there in the stretch. I think he had a passer rating of like 90 through 12 touchdowns. I think they're figuring it out. I think he and Belichick are working it out. And, I mean, I like the asshole Cam. I think he had an edge. I think he had some nerve. I like that. I like a quarterback that's got some grit, some dog in him. So for me, I believe, Khalil, I believe they could draft Mac Jones.
It's not our question. It's not the question.
I do believe that. He fits their system. He's upright. He'll stay there in the pocket. I think they will. Tom Brady going to the Bucs, man. I mean, he picked out a perfect situation. Let's not make it out to be more than it is, man. He chose a team that had a stout defense, multiple weapons across the board. He doesn't want to go long and deep. Let's not make Belichick look like a chump. I mean, he stuck it out where he has a depleted roster and he's trying to make do with what he's got. So I don't like the comparison that Brady this and Belichick that. And Carl, I don't really believe that Belichick will ever really be on the hot seat. He'll retire before anybody throws him out the door. He's third best of all time, right? Behind Hallis. I think, honestly, the guy's got 6 Super Bowls with that franchise. He could shit in a barrel and piss in another, and no one's going to say anything different. So let's be honest, I think Cam will be fine in New England. And if they go 10-6 this year, 8-8, are you really gonna boot him out the door even next season? I mean, if he has a winning season, would you guys finish this year?
We finished 7-9.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind that 4 of the games we were only 1 score away from turning it all around. The Seattle game, the game against Buffalo, the Texans game and Denver. We should never ever have lost to fucking Denver, but Cam coming back from COVID was never a problem. One drive from Buffalo, he ended up fumbling it. One drive against Seattle, and then in Houston, for some reason, our defense just did not decide to fucking turn up in that game.
What's that all about?
Go on, Nick.
Can I also just say, and I say this quite a lot, Carl, especially to you when you're talking about Cam Newton, if my granny had balls, she'd be my granddad. It doesn't matter whether you lose by one score or half a score. Or
put balls on your grandmother? God damn it.
You should be writing greeting cards or something with that.
Funny enough, I was looking at a new career of doing that. But
I think so. Etsy's ready for you.
I upset too many. Clinton Cards wouldn't take my CV for some reason.
Fair enough.
Dion, what's your quick thoughts on Cam before we move on?
I have to agree with everybody. Pretty much he's a stopgap. I do think that the Patriots are gearing up to draft probably a Mac Jones, possibly even a Kyle Trask.
Not Trash. Dudes, please, not Trash.
Well, either way, both of those dudes kind of fit the system. The thing with Cam is you're not going to give him like a 1 year, $14 million contract and tell him go sit on the bench. That's just stupid. Nobody pays their backup $14 million. This is dumb.
You only get 14 in incentives. It's from what I'm looking on my notes here, it's $6 million.
Okay, so 14 in incentives. So then that automatically does better for him. I'll make that quick. It's just I believe he's a stopgap. To be honest with you, it's a hard yes on Mac Jones as the new face of the franchise for the New England Patriots, taking them into the future. I do believe that they will work. Tua did say he is a more mobile Tom Brady. So
yeah, they did say that. Even Mel Kiper said that as well.
Yeah, so I'll give him that. The only other thing I have to say is in that Super Bowl, Cam Newton was paid off because there's no way in hell you can overthrow Ted Ginn Jr. It's just not possible. I'm so sorry. Ted Ginn is way too goddamn fast for you to overthrow. I believe before the Super Bowl, they walked up, patted Cam on the shoulder, and said, look, this is the sheriff's last ride. We're going to go ahead and give him this one. I need you to screw this up. And I understand you're upset. I know that you want to win. I get it. But look in your bank account, and you'll be fine. There's no way in hell he played that Super Bowl that shitty from arrogance or partying or any of that crap. No quarterback gets to the pinnacle of their career and screws it off knowing that they were way better than what they played. It just does not make any sense. That's just my belief. Stranger things have happened. The lights went off in the Super Bowl with us against the Ravens. Why? Because we were getting our asses handed to us. And magically the damn lights go out. Seriously? No, that was the mob going. The betting is going way off. We're going to pay out way too much money. Somebody better fix this shit or we're going to have a problem.
It's funny you say that, Dion, in that Super Bowl, because I was actually in New Orleans and I was drunk and I was walking around outside the stadium because I couldn't get a ticket and I tripped over some fucking wires that were plugged in. That's why the lights went out. It was nothing to do with Vegas, brother.
So that explains why Nick doesn't ever complain about money. He's well off. They called him and said, "Hey,
yeah, exactly.
Trip the wires, man."
They said, go and drink some beer and trip your ass over outside the stadium, and it worked for me. Right. Dak Prescott signed his new contract. Jerry Jones caved in. Now, Dion, I know you are a big advocate of Dak Prescott, so I want to get your take on it first, then we'll go John, Shark, Ivan, etc. You've sung Dak's praises on this show over the last 3 or 4 shows, so I'm quite interested in what your take is on this.
Here's the thing. Jerry didn't have another option. He was going to have to pay that man. And the whole thing that was holding up the contract, long story short, was an extra year. Dak just wanted to get paid again. At the end of the day, Dak is the closest thing they're going to have to winning a Super Bowl. You put Dak back with the current weapons that they have. The offense is perfectly fine. Figure out your offensive line. make that happen, make sure that's solid so Dak doesn't get hurt. But he's still mobile. He still can throw. He still does everything that you need him to. And Jerry finally just ponied up the dough and said, I'll take the year off. You get a man what he wants. At the end of the day, I guarantee you, Dak Prescott is going to be the only quarterback that will bring them a Super Bowl. Because Tony Romo definitely wasn't. No one else was. I guarantee you, with that money, you will not see a drop off in play. You will see him come back. He will excel. And I guarantee you, they'll probably at least get into the second round, possibly the NFC Championship in the playoffs next year, as long as their O-line is right. And as long as they get someone else to fix that damn defense, because Mike Nolan obviously was not it. Jerry always likes to step in. So Jerry needs to step in and find the proper defensive coordinator to figure out what they can do with the pieces that they have. All I want the Cowboys to do is let Aldon Smith walk so he can bring his ass home.
It's interesting what you say about Dak and going deep in the playoffs. And my view is slightly different, and you're probably going to shoot me down in flames. But I think he's Tony Romo Mark II. I think he'll choke.
What?
As in the playoffs. I'm not talking about regular season.
Okay.
Romo was that kind of player that when you got to the playoffs, you knew it wasn't going to happen. And Dak, to me, and I have seen it, but I admit I don't watch Dallas all the time. So maybe my view is probably skewed, but I just don't.
Okay.
I don't. Educate me, Dion. I don't share your view of Dak Prescott. So educate me.
I'll give you this. When they were playing Green Bay and they were a win away from going to the NFC Championship, everybody remember what happened? They decided to let Jared Cook walk around like he just was nobody. The defense lost that game. He did everything he had to do to get them right in a position to win. And the defense lost that game. Y'all got lackadaisical. Why would y'all release off of the guy who's been ripping you to shreds the whole game? Like, that's dumb. That's like us going ahead and playing the Cardinals, and DeAndre Hopkins has been killing us. But no, we're not going to give any safety help over the top. We're just going to keep letting him kill us. That was not on Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott and Tony Romo are so far removed from each other because Tony Romo is half of a Peyton Manning, should I say. Because he's good in the regular season. He's not great. He's good in the regular season. He may get you to the playoffs, but you're teetering more so on the side of no. With Dak, you know that Dak will take you to the playoffs as long as the defense can do their part. He will get that offense moving because when Dak's in there, Zeke runs the ball better. When Dak's in there, CeeDee Lamb is catching passes. Blake Jarvis, all of these people, Gallup, all of the offense moves better with him. Just like earlier when everybody was talking about Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is trash. I don't care. You can throw the ball 4,000 yards. I don't care what you do. At the end of the day, your resume is going to be bereft of a Super Bowl championship and of playoff wins. That's why when everybody was giving him all that praise, I looked and I said, at the end of the day, he ain't won no playoff games. He ain't won no damn Super Bowl. And I don't care what you try to blame it on, and you still have to get the W's. And we all know Cincinnati, unfortunately, is trash. They just don't have it. But you can never
one and done always. One and done
always. Yeah, you can never. You can't compare Tony Romo to Dak Prescott because Dak Prescott wins and he puts him in a position to win. Tony Romo never puts you in a position to win. You know what Tony Romo does best? He does Corona commercials really good, and he's starting to suck at that because Kenny the Jet Smith then came on and made him look bad. But the issue is Tony Romo was good for an interception at the wrong time, all the time. Everybody right here on this panel can tell you that. Craig, you got to bet. Tell me you didn't see him just automatically throw an interception. Carl, you know what I'm saying? Hell, everybody, y'all know Tony Romo was good for that one interception. You would just be scratching your head like, why'd you do that? And I kid you not, when he would throw the interceptions and I was watching, I would look and I would be going, it's about to happen, right? Yep, he did it. He screwed it up. And then he just walked to the sideline like nothing. So how is it that Jerry Jones was really quick to pay Tony Romo and give him all his money, but you wanted to hold out on Dak. It just didn't make sense. But now, hey, pocketbook is open. Time to go to the playoffs and win some games.
Got to pay the man. Can I just say we had a comment on Twitch, which is quite amazing because no fucker ever watches us on Twitch. Potato Guzzler said, "This is one fucking ugly boy band. We're not an ugly boy band. We are rejects from the world's shittest boy band. So if you don't like it, don't watch. It's quite simple, Potato Guzzler."
All right, I'll answer that. Let me tell you that I'll speak for the whole panel. Okay, I'm gonna quote one of the greatest boxers of all time. God damn it, I'm pretty, baby. You see this right here? I'm too pretty. All right. You ever want to call me ugly? You go ahead and get at me directly. Slide right in my DMs. I will let you know I am pretty, baby. You see this beard right here? This is homegrown, baby. Look at John's beard. Look at all these handsome dudes on the panel ever call us an ugly boy band. You better get off Twitch.
What Dion said. Yeah. What Dion said. Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't even know what the fuck we're on Twitch for, but hey ho, that's another story.
Hey, look, whole panel.
Controversy by the looks of it.
Obviously. Well, he's now put another quote in. Nick, tell them football is played with a round black and white ball and hands are not allowed. Yeah, Potato Guzzler, the fuck out. Seriously. John, Dak Prescott, talk to me.
Listen, I don't mind Dak. I never did. I think he's the only hope that the Cowboys ever had, man. I mean, what was their record? Does anybody know what their record was before he snapped his leg off?
I think it was something on the lines of.
Were they 0-4?
No, I think they'd won. No, because they. Oh dear, sorry, Craig. I don't want to have to bring this up, but yeah. Week 2. Remember when they kicked the onside kick and they recovered it? 19 point lead, and you had a 99% chance of winning the game.
And we just sat there and watched that onside kick and thought, hang on, let's just not touch this for 10 yards because that's the rule for the offense, so it must be the same rule for us, right? Yeah, carry on.
Just fall on the fucking ball! You don't need it to go fucking 10 yards!
Did you just throw the cat? What the hell was that, Carl?
That was a ball.
Okay. Anyway,
thing was, my ears just exploded with his high pitched voice. He speaks very highly sometimes.
I mean, listen. I try to stay away from Dallas. There's not much I give a shit about that they do and what they don't do. So, I mean, I like Dak, and I think he's a pretty solid quarterback. I'm interested to see how well he does. That was like, week 5 that he broke his leg off. I mean, there was probably some promise in that season. Andy Dalton, I mean, I said it in the comments. The guy's made 4 playoff appearances, only had a touchdown and 6 picks. They were trash and have been trash here in Ohio for a long time. But, like, Marvin Lewis, man, that dude – I don't know. I've always said he knew where the bodies were buried because he had a stretch. He was 0-3 to like 2017 or 2018 or some shit like that. 6 playoff appearances. I think they had an AFC win maybe somewhere along the way. But nonetheless, like I said, I don't have much on Dak, guys. I really don't. I don't give a shit about Dallas. I think he's a solid piece. They had to pay him. I think his payday was overdue. And listen, I mean, his career almost ended like what's his face from Seattle. Say his name, man. You know, he gave him the finger when he blew out his knee because
Earl Thomas.
There you go. You know, I mean, I viewed Dak's situation similar, man. He wanted a payday, you know, and he negotiated this, that, and the other. They hesitated. He snapped his leg off, and it almost ended his career, right? I mean, let's be honest. Who the fuck is this guy? You know, aren't you supposed to be watching video games feeds or some shit on Twitch? Scott, let him have it, man. I mean, come on.
Some people are trolls.
Bring him on.
It's fine.
I
Let
mean,
him. Bring him in.
Come on,
There's room at the bottom for one
As
more,
I
isn't
do-
it? There's room at the bottom. Let's get him on.
As much crap as he's talking, I can guarantee
on, man.
you he don't look
Hey.
not as good as any of us on our worst day.
Put that back up.
Don't pay no
there.
attention to that dude, man. Let him be who he is.
Hang
Man.
on a minute.
Put
Ain't
that
nothing.
comment back up there.
Debatable.
The good thing is,
Somebody check on
the
Mr.
thing
Rogers.
is-
He hasn't moved in minutes.
Something, but it ain't potatoes, okay? So let's just move on.
the funny thing is, we've never been trolled, apart from
It must be me. I'm
when
sorry,
I did
everyone.
a poll.
That means that we're doing
When I-
something
when I-
right then, fellas.
Well, there you go. When I put that poll out on Twitter, should we do another show? Yes, no, what, and piss off. Piss off one. But unfortunately, motherfuckers,
I
we're
voted
back.
for piss off too, though, Nick.
Well, I knew you would, Scott.
I mean, to be fair, I'm also in that category.
Yeah, well, I knew you'd do that, Shark. But then, you see, Mr. Rogers, we had a little peek behind the curtain when he got up because he's got his Rupert the Bear trousers on. Now, you're going to need to Google that, you guys in America. But, Scott, just show what you're wearing below your KC thing. Show us your...
I believe I've
Pajama
heard of
bottom.
Rupert the
Thermals
Bear
on.
before. I think I have. I've heard of Rupert the Bear.
He's rocking his Rupert the Bear trousers, and unfortunately, he got up and showed everybody.
I'm in the basement today, like you, in the bunker, and it's a little bit cold, man. So you gotta wear some warm shit, you know.
Very true.
Nice.
Yeah, I stay warm,
Like,
man.
you got-
I'm in Arizona.
You got a matching couch on both floors, Scott. That's great.
I was about to say, did he bring the couch downstairs? Because that looks like the exact same couch.
He's got good taste in furniture. Top floor,
I'm
matching the bottom.
There you go.
I'm in the basement every day, not just that.
Shark.
Just today. But it's a little chilly this week here.
Shark.
So we had the nice weather, and now it's back to 40 degrees or whatever, 30 degrees at night. So.
Oh, look at that. Look, he's being photobombed by a lunatic cat as well. He's got it all going on down there in the basement. Shark, apart from apparently we got to start a GoFundMe for you to get some wall art. I can't even remember what the fuck we're talking about. Oh, yeah, Dak Prescott. What do you think about that?
I mean, firstly, I live with 3 guys in a student house. You're gonna have to do a damn sight better to get on my nerves than wall art. Like, Jesus, who spends their Saturday afternoon talking about somebody else's wall art? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, bro, go outside, get a friend or some shit. Like, what the hell?
I think we should have a GoFundMe for your bangs because they're nice. You got nice.
Honestly, like, I don't want to go too much into it, but this man clearly needs to get laid, like desperately. Anyway, as for Dak Prescott, I just don't buy it. Honestly, I don't think the Cowboys make the playoffs next year. I really don't, and that's a bold claim because the NFC East is really bad. But if you can give me a decent quarterback in Washington, I think they could be a seriously good team for the future. But where are they going to find a decent QB at the moment? I mean, they've obviously had ridiculed with problems. Alex Smith's had a big injury. He's too old. He's gone. I don't think Heineke can step up to the level that they're going to be winning big playoff games.
Bearing this in mind, Shark, Taylor Heineke had a better QBR than Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs when Brady played them.
But he lost.
So did everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers has won a Super Bowl. Drew Brees has won a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl. Taylor Heineke's lost 1 playoff game.
And he sounds like the beer Heineken. So, yeah, it's unfortunate.
But honestly, I feel like the Cowboys are going to have a serious problem here because there's a lot of money tied up now. Like, a lot of money. So I don't think Amari Cooper's as good as people sometimes make him out to be. I feel like he falls into that Michael Thomas category of short routes, but he does have better deep ball potential than Michael Thomas. But honestly, I'd be back in Washington in that division if they get a 3.5-star quarterback. But for me, you're paying a guy a ridiculous amount of money who, like Nick was saying earlier, he's lost in the playoffs. He's like, if this, like, you look at when Carson Wentz first got injured, everyone was riding the hell out of him, going, he's an injury-prone glass quarterback. What if the same happens to Dak? You know, that's a lot of money tied up in a player you can't use. Oh, this is just so terrible.
Hey,
I'll tell
he's
you,
a fan, though. I guess that's something.
Listen, exactly. Potato Guzzler, if you're on Twitter, hit us up, DM me on Twitter. If not, email me, shankclubnfl@gmail.com, and we'll get your ass on here next week. That's if you can put the fucking crayons down or stop playing fucking Warcraft or whatever other shit you should be doing now. And does your mum know you actually use the internet? That's all I can say. Hit us up, Potato Guzzler. You can come on here. You can have your say and say how good soccer is compared to American football, yada, yada, yada. If not, sit down, pipe down, and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Hellhound.
Anyway.
Yeah. There you go.
Dak Prescott. Talk to
Dak Prescott. Well, I think he's a good quarterback. So my issue with this whole thing is that Baker Mayfield just coming up from his second contract. So and Dak Prescott has just blown the market up for a sky high contract. So you know, to me, it's how it impacts on the Browns that I care about. So you know. Before then, I was thinking that they were likely to give Baker a new contract early to try and get it cheaper. Now I'm not too sure they will do that. They might wait a year. I'm not too sure, but I don't think he's worth that amount of money. I think he's I think he's probably just edging in the top 10 quarterbacks. You know, around about that sort of position. But I think it's a huge salary and a huge hit on the salary cap. So that's going to impact the Cowboys, who really need to be spending money on, you know, certain positions. They've got a fair few holes really, so they need to be spending money elsewhere. But you know, Jerry Jones, he's done this. How often has he done this? You know, he holds out and holds out and holds out, gives in every time. Why he just didn't pay the man to start with, I don't know. That's what he should have done.
He did it with Emmitt Smith back in the day. He held out on Emmitt.
Yeah.
And Michael Irvin walked in the office and said, "Hell nah, you better pay his ass. We suck. Give him his goddamn money and stop playing with him."
He just won't do the right thing. He's shot himself in the foot yet again, like he did with Ezekiel Elliott. You know, he just does it all the time. So I've got no sympathy for the Cowboys whatsoever.
I hope
not many people do, Ivan. Not many people do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the Browns are America's new team. So that's another reason I've just got no sympathy for the Cowboys whatsoever. They're a badly run organisation. I've
got just for someone to put into perspective here. So you've got the Dak signing bonus and this ridiculous amount of money, and Amari Cooper's due to be a 22 million cap hit this year. Now, don't get me wrong; those are two very good players, but compare them to like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams aren't taking that money. You know, like you've got big quarterbacks and big wide receivers that aren't taking up 60 million of your cap. That's a third of your cap on two players that, well, let's be honest, they've been together for a few years, and what have they achieved? Not enough to warrant that money.
So they're going to take his money.
Exactly.
They know he's a fuckface. He gets in his own way and fucks up his own organization. Take his money. Fuck him. Take his money.
His football brain was left in the 90s. They just haven't been the same since, and it's time for him to step down. If you're asking me, there needs to be a fresh face. The game's changed. The way that people operate has changed.
Is that since Jimmy Johnson left?
Yeah,
pretty much the one. Yeah.
But let's be honest, everybody loves to see Dallas being complete fuck ups, especially the 49er fans.
Oh yeah.
And I've just had a private message from the Shark. Apparently, the student union bar has just told him he's got to go to a meeting. He's bullshitting, obviously. We all know what fucking students are like. Any chance?
Unfortunately, my research project has not gone to plan this week.
Carly,
Fail.
the answer to that question is he's stuffing it right up his ass
Yeah.
because he's the billion dollar man.
Pretty
So-
sure it's to keep his skin intact.
Not the Cowboys. I want to know what the Saints are doing.
Hopefully nothing.
They're waiting on Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Well, they've
waiting
cut
on-
pretty much
Drew
everyone,
Brees
and
is the one.
they pretty much cut everyone and their mother. So, and they're still in cap hell.
But they've just
It'll be interesting to see.
they've just got Marcus Williams on what do you call it, franchise.
Yeah, me and Craig had this discussion on my show on Wednesday night about it. It goes, me and Craig have got more money put together than what the Saints have. So I really don't understand that.
What have I told you before? Stop plugging your show on my show, Carl. No, I'm only joking.
Anyway, guys, as Nick said,
I'm just making a
unfortunately,
point. I'm just
Oh, hey,
making
does
a
Carl have a
point.
show himself?
pleasure. I'll be back next week.
Yeah,
Or not?
funnily enough. Shark, yeah, definitely, mate. I'll send you the details as usual. Shark, have a good weekend, my brother.
Yeah.
See you next
I
week.
will try. My football
Have
team's
a good
losing
one.
again, so probably not. But hey,
Take care. There you go. That's the Shark, man.
I don't remember doing
are
research
still-
projects in the 5th grade.
Now, don't diss the Shark.
Years old, man.
He might pop back in just to talk
Youth
some
these
shit.
days.
Craig, what do you think on this Dak Prescott situation?
I think what Ivan just said about, Dak's maybe on the fringes of sort of being a top 10 quarterback, when you've got a guy that's above average at, fundamentally the most important position, you've got to pay him. And I think the comments that you guys have already made about they should have just paid him earlier are absolutely right. He should have done, but it wasn't a surprise. They don't have another option. You're completely rolling the dice if you try and, pick up a rookie at 9 or 10 or wherever it is they're sitting in the draft. You've got somebody who can function in the league, who can win your division, who can take you to the playoffs. But I think, Dion, you said, they need to do two things. Firstly, they need to fix that offensive line. And I think that's absolutely right. Their offensive line play was poor. And they need to do that, especially when they're going to come up against Washington twice a year. They're going to come up against the Giants twice a year, who franchised Leonard Williams this week. They've got to sort that offensive line out. They've got to make sure they protect him better. Otherwise, they're not going to win. They're not going to do that. They're not going to beat Washington. They're not going to beat the Giants twice a year. They're not going to go. They're not going to beat those teams to the top of that division. The other thing then you said was they've got to fix the defense, and they brought in our former head coach. They've taken Dan Quinn in as their defensive coordinator, somebody who you look back at his Seahawks defenses, the 3 or 4 years he ran that for Pete Carroll, and they were all absolutely, they were elite units. But that was built off that Legion of Boom secondary. It was built on that on the secondary. And I think that is the bit that Dallas really need to look at more than anything, actually, on that defensive side of the ball, is how they're going to improve that secondary, be able to cover, receivers, tight ends, be able to do what the Seattle defenses did. That's the way Dan Quinn then is going to get his front four, front five, causing pressure on opposing quarterbacks. So I think you're absolutely right, Dion. The defense, and particularly for me, the secondary is the area that they need to focus on trying to fix now if they want to go back up and start winning the NFC East. But it didn't surprise me that he got paid. I think that, you might look at it and go, it's quite a large amount of money. Actually, we know, okay, the salary cap's taken a dip this year, but there's the big TV deals on the horizon, and there's a big chance that, next year, the year after, that salary cap rockets up again. And, we might
know
be
they're out
sitting
of free
here
agency,
in
right?
a year or two's time. Yeah.
Craig, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but they, at one point a few seasons ago, they had one of the best offensive lines in football, no?
Yes, they did. Yep. They did have one of the best offensive lines in football, but their center wound up, I believe he unfortunately had, I believe it was like cancer or something like that. Yeah. There was something that forced him to retire, unfortunately. Bless that man and his family, because that is definitely a hard thing to go through. But yeah, the offensive line a couple of years ago was like the best in the league. They were talking about their offensive line, like they're trying to talk about the Colts offensive line right now.
Right.
But yeah, now I don't know what happened, but it's the offensive line and that defense. If they fix those two, yeah, the Cowboys can definitely be contenders.
It's not going to be anytime soon though, because they're fucked on cap. They're not going to be able to look to free agency to fill those gaps. So they're going to try to draft.
It'll be
they're going to draft butt crack because they never do. So I don't know. I just don't see. I don't see any of these things happening in the next. Not this draft, bro. I really don't see. They got to make do with what they've got and draft as good as they can. I don't even know where their first pick is. They might have given that shit up. They might not even have a first round pick. Do they?
They're at 9 or 10. They're one of the ones that I've got one of the corners going to, and you guys always tell me off.
They're at 10.
Yeah, I think you had them drafting. Yeah, I think you had them drafting Caleb Farley or Patrick Surtain. Yeah.
I thought that they gave up a first round pick.
No, they have their first round.
No, they gave. I know what John's saying there. They did give up a first round pick, but that was to the Raiders for Amari Cooper.
Yeah, that was prior. Yeah,
that was prior to it. So,
but
a couple of years ago now. Yeah.
Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I don't. It's too much money, but they were in that position where when you got a quarterback who's above average, you it's like no man's land. It's like you don't want to overpay, but at the same time, you're not going to get anything better, and it's going to cost that to keep the guy. So I don't know. Dak, to me, I don't watch enough Cowboys games probably to really know for sure. I mean, I see them because they're on fucking TV all the time for some reason. That America's team bullshit.
America's team.
I don't know why
yeah, right.
Is, but to me, Dak reminds me of Phillip Rivers when I watch him play. He throws for a lot of yards and touchdowns when his team is down and out of it, and it's garbage time hero bullshit. And he just doesn't seem like they win big games. I think he's won one playoff game, a wild card round game, right, against the Seahawks. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. And then that was the same year that he wound up that the defense wound up screwing him out of going to the NFC Championship game because they lost to the Pack.
Saying earlier, Peyton Manning should just overcome that shit, but now it's the defense's fault.
Because Dak put them in a position to win the game. They were going to win. He did what he was supposed to do. He overcame.
Times in the defense.
No. I'll let you say your pieces. I'll go on for days about this. Anyway, it's very simple. If you go back and watch that game, that's what happened.
Yeah, but so Dak Prescott, they got in the position where you have an above average quarterback, but I wouldn't consider him an elite quarterback. And these guys want. You get them their agents, and hey, they're out to make money too. I'm not hating on him for getting his money. Good for him. I mean, if you can get $40 million a year, you can. But now you're in the Super Bowl champion pay scale, and I just don't see it happening. Luckily for them, I will say the one saving grace for the Cowboys in this situation is they are in the worst division in football in recent memory. So you know what? Maybe they win 3 or 4 division titles in this next 3 or 4 years, and maybe they can get to a conference championship game because the NFC is not as good as the AFC, and maybe that will make it look like a better deal than it was. But yeah,
I'll stop you there.
I think it's too much money, and I think they overpaid, but I don't think they really had a choice either, unfortunately for them. So. I mean, what are you going to do? Let the guy fucking walk and go, try to go to bat with, like a Cam Newton or somebody that's like nobody else wanted? Like,
which is why Jerry Jones
can't do that.
You're making all the sense in the world right there, Mr. Rogers. There was no choice.
In a bad spot, man. And so hopefully, like I said, they can make the best of a bad situation in a shitty division and maybe make some playoffs. The ball bounces your way. You get a fortunate bounce. You get a fortunate call. You get you know, a matchup. Maybe you get a couple of playoff teams, like you run into a division winner that wasn't that good, or you get to run into a wild card team that won the first game that they probably shouldn't have won and knocked off somebody better. That's the best they can hope for, I think, in Dallas for the next couple of years.
The only
But
thing
I
I'll
hate
stop.
Danny,
the
what's
Cowboys.
your
I grew up
thoughts?
in New Mexico,
Hold on.
and out there it's Broncos or Cowboys fans, and I can't stand either of those teams. So I'm definitely not shedding a tear for Jerry.
I don't think
Danny, what's
anyone
up?
will ever shed
Anyone.
a cheer.
I think, like, looking at it was probably the most boring news story I'd read and most unsurprising story. You know, when it came, I think it was Thursday or Friday, it broke and it popped up on the app. Like, I don't think I even read it. And normally you're like, oh, who signed with who? And it's really, what's going on here? And it was just so predictable. I think, Ivan, did you say, like, pay the man? You know, why did it take this long to get it done? You know, tick that box and just sign him. But, you know, like you've said, the above average quarterbacks, is it 42, 43 million a year or something? Is he $38 million better than Cam Newton? Is he like almost $20 million better than Jimmy G? Is he worth that kind of money? Unfortunately, probably yes, because that's the quarterback market. And when you've got somebody who you can have for a few years, build a team around, you got the offensive weapons, you have no choice. You know, like you said, you have no choice. And Jerry Jones has his own little way of doing things. We all know that. But it was going to happen. It has happened. And now what happens next? The Cowboys hype train goes into full steam again. Like it seems to, I mean, I'm a 49ers fan, so this is hard for me to talk objectively, so I'm probably not going to. But the Cowboys hype train is every year. There's analysts picking them, isn't it, to win the Super Bowl. This is their year. This is the one they're going to do it. And every year they fall flat. I just can't see them living up to the hype of that hype train. You know, I mean, the 49ers hype train does the same thing, really. But the Cowboys one every year. Somebody's picking him to go all the way. And I don't think just signing Dak Prescott's going to do it. I think there's got to be more. I just don't know what that more is just yet. That's my take. I mean, what do you think? Is he $38 million better than Cam Newton?
He's better quarterback.
Carl, you since you're next up anyway, you can definitely answer that question. Is Dak Prescott
good grief.
more than $38 million better?
Yeah, sorry to bring you back to the
Very good
start, but
question.
$38 million, man.
You have to put Cam Newton into when he was started and when he started playing in Carolina. You have to give him those years. The same with Dak Prescott. Answer is no. No, the answer is no. I'll go back to Scott though, because he did make saying that Cowboys could go on a run of like 3 or 4 division titles in the NFC East. Since 2004, no one has won the NFC East back to back. Since 2004. So to say they're going to go 3, 4 divisions, no. There's always someone that comes out of the NFC East differently. I think everyone's made their points perfectly clear. Prescott should have been paid, for me, 2 years earlier because the market was a lot better back then. Instead, they decided to overpay for Ezekiel Elliott, and that sort of handcuffed them. What I don't get is Jerry Jones always overpays for players. He's overpaid for everyone that has worn a Cowboys jersey, and it took him this long to get this done. Same with the Tony Romo situation. Also, same with Emmitt Smith as well. Here's the thing: you had to sign Dak Prescott. You had to bring him back. He is the heart and soul of the team. You take him out, who the fuck is going to lead you?
But at least Jerry Jones is happy that he's overpaid Dak. You know, you saw the quote. If I've ever overpaid anybody, I'm absolutely delighted. It's Dak Prescott. Just what even is that? What does that even mean?
Like he's never done it before. Like if I have, you know, maybe they know the other ones.
That is classic Jerry Jones, and the reason why is Jerry is one of those people who will get on national television and tell you, I ain't got no problem opening my pocketbook or writing a check, but then you want to hold out on your money Had they paid Dak Prescott before they paid Ezekiel Elliott, Dak would probably be at maybe 30, 32 mil at a max. He wouldn't have cost them 40 million a year. But that's his problem. Jerry holds out and plays this I'm not gonna pay you game. And the next thing you know, he kicks himself right square in the ass and winds up opening his pocketbook bigger than he should have. I mean, it's very simple. If you just pay players when they should get paid, and Dak was what, a third, fourth round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Wasn't
So-
Dak asking for like 35 to 40 million a year 2 years ago? That's why he didn't sign.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and 35 million
I
at the
don't think he
time.
saved any money because I think he was asking for this kind of money then.
Well, no, he wasn't asking for the 40. He asked for the 40 because he knew he had Jerry backed into a corner. I mean, when you have somebody backed into a corner, I'm an advocate for players. Get your money, because these owners are going to keep making theirs long after you gone. And at the end of the day, you're going to have to build yourself. You're going to have to build your brand, and you're going to have to know how to take that money that you made in the NFL and make something of yourself. You don't believe me? Watch I Am an Athlete with Brandon Marshall, Fred Taylor, and Ocho, and there's somebody else on there, Channing Crowder. Those dudes found a way to make their money work for them. It makes sense. So, you're going to have to take the money that you make in the NFL and turn it into something. You know what I'm saying? The greatest thing I learned in high school was called residual income in economics class. Make your money work for you. So that got paid. He got his bread. Jerry was an idiot. He paid him way too late. He could have saved himself some money. But at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Was anybody else going to give him this kind of money?
Sorry. No.
You think
Oh
yeah.
That Dak on the open market. Come on, John. Somebody would have ponied up and gave him probably more than that. I guarantee you, somebody would have paid him. Look at what Kirk Cousins got. Kirk Cousins got 3 years, $84 million guaranteed, all of it, and he's trash.
Okay, but do you think that?
garbage?
Let's be honest. Do you think that is he better than Dak?
Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
God, no.
You
Kirk
don't.
Cousins Kirk Cousins is a
if you compare their resumes, though,
he
I mean,
pads
Kirk's
his
got
stats
him
to get paid. Period. I will always believe that about Kirk Cousins. There are players that play for money, and there are players that play to win. You know who the greatest player that plays to win? There's a guy in here by the name of Carl who has a team by the name of the New England Patriots who had a quarterback by the name of Tom Brady, who is the most grossly underpaid quarterback to ever play the game of football. You don't get 6 Super Bowls and be paid like that. Brady knows what he needs to do to win rings, and that's why his legacy will be built on the fact that he didn't give two shits about money. Brady wants to go down as one of the greatest players to ever touch a damn football, and he will be. If you look at guys like Kirk Cousins, what's Kirk Cousins' legacy going to be? I padded my stats. I got paid. I got franchised twice. I got paid. Nobody's going to look at Kirk Cousins and go, that's a Hall of Fame quarterback. When you look at Tom Brady, there's no denying he's first ballot. That's how you look at it.
Dude, never going to debate that.
Yeah, Dak,
I just think
you just look at him and you see he's better. That's just my opinion. I feel he's better.
I mean, so padded stats are pretty much what teams are looking at, though. I mean, stats are what teams are looking at regardless of when they negotiate a contract. I mean, I guess we could say the same thing about Cousins, though. He could go out on the open market and get paid because
he could. But he wouldn't.
I
think somebody would. I think somebody would pay more for Dak because if you look at the way the league is going, the mobile quarterback is winning. When the mobile quarterback used to be a negative thing, you know what I'm saying? It's period point blank. The more athletic you are at quarterback, the more they will want to pay you because they know that they can open their playbook and expand it a little bit more. You got to look at what's been going on in the league. Look at Lamar. Look at Dak. Look at Deshaun Watson. Look at Patrick Mahomes. You know, there's an abundance of quarterbacks now that are moving around and making it happen. Look at Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? Josh Allen and Cam Newton have a similar kind of size to an extent. They're both like damn linebackers playing quarterback. When Cam first came into the league, that's what I thought. I was like, why the fuck is a linebacker a quarterback? That make no damn sense. And what did he do? He bulldozed his way through the league because he was so big. It was like, you got to think about it. I'm a 240. You know, a real linebacker is about anywhere between 225 to 250 in the NFL. So if you got a linebacker coming and he's hitting a dude the same exact weight, exact weight as him, and who can exert either the same exact force or just as much force, you're automatically going, oh shit, I don't want to hit that dude, man. It's like trying to tackle Adrian Peterson in his prime. You don't want to. You want to go with his legs because you know up top you're gonna have hell. It's that simple.
Do any of you guys think that Cam's contract came premature before they see him on his feet again? Or do you feel like the injury won't hinder him? I mean, does anybody have reserved feelings about that? I mean, do you guys think that injury could come back and I don't know. I mean,
no, I think he'll be fine.
Don't. I think it's a year removed. A year removed after having the surgery. You know,
he needed the off season.
All right.
Thing is, everyone like talking about Cam and giving him slack and stuff. Jimmy G, same situation. Oh, he's a year out. It's this, it's that, it's the other, and everyone's climbing on Cam Newton's job track. Yet Jimmy G is still going to be a fucking failure. They got to cut him. They got to save money. We got to go after Deshaun Watson and all that. It's subjective, really, guys. We're going to move on to another subject because I want to see Mr. Smug squirm now because I've been looking forward to this bit. Both tackles from Kansas City have been cut. Mahomes has restructured his contract. What a nice person for the greater good of the franchise. Scott, why have they just cut their two cornerstones of that offensive?
Yes,
line?
please explain. I need you to educate me here, Scott. Tell me why.
Go for it.
Tell me why.
Simple. First thing is Patrick Mahomes, he restructured. He just moved one bonus to another bonus. He's not making any less money. So
that's what they do.
So that's why I say when you talk about the salary cap, it's a fucking shell game, man. You just move the shit around from this cup to this cup and make it balance out. Anytime teams say, "Oh, we don't have the cap room to get this guy signed," that means their general manager isn't good enough at his job. That's what that means. But you know, if you look at those two tackles, all right, Mitchell Schwartz, he had back surgery. Okay, he was gone all year, basically. He missed, I think he only played 3 or 4 games this year.
He got injured week 6, I think. It was mid-October.
So it was early in the season. And when you have a back injury and you're an offensive lineman, regardless of who you are, I mean, have you ever known anybody that had a back injury, that had back surgery, that came back and was fine afterwards? I don't. I've never met anybody. There was some talk, too, maybe that he might even consider retiring. I think he had the surgery. He put the surgery off, was hoping maybe that he would be able to get to a condition where he could play if the playoffs and the Super Bowl came around. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. So he had the surgery. I think there's a lot of gamble in there that the Chiefs didn't want to take on him coming back and being able to play at that cap number. Eric Fisher, same thing. Eric Fisher is a good left tackle. I don't think anybody would say he's one of the best. I don't think anybody would say he's top 5 left tackle in the league, or maybe top 10, maybe. But I think he's good, but he's not great. He was due to make great elite tackle money. He's coming off an injury with an Achilles tear, and unfortunately for the Chiefs, they got it's kind of bit of misfortune. Being in the middle of this Super Bowl run and signing all these contracts and these extensions for big money, and then the cap goes down. I mean, when was the last time the salary cap went down? I don't ever remember the salary cap going down. So I think it was kind of a confluence of circumstances with injuries and cap numbers and the situation with the cap going down. Also being tackle and offensive line heavy draft. I think there's a lot of people that are saying that there are a lot of tackles and guards in the draft this year, more so than most years. So I think really it just, like I said, it comes down to those different things all coming to a head at the same point. And when you're tight on cap space, you can't roll the dice on a guy. Is he going to be able to come back and play or not? Because you saw what happened when they didn't have him in the Super Bowl.
Now I have another question. I have another question to leading up to that for you, Mr. Rogers. Here's my issue. You're picking 31st. The good tackles, the good who tell me who you have your eye on, because your Rashawn Slaters, your those types of guys are already going to be gone by the time you make your pick. So are you feeling that they've keyed in on some guys that, and then a follow-up question to that is, why the hell would anyone want anything to do with Mike McGlinchey?
Yeah, I don't follow the draft as closely as probably you guys and most people. I don't watch a lot of college football. I just don't. So I understand, the top shelf guys are going to go early, but I think they think that I've read a lot of analysts and scouts and people say that there are plenty of late first round and second and third round guys who are serviceable, can be good players, which I think is what they thought they had with Fisher to begin with. And Mitch Schwartz, again, I think it's the back injury that scared them and the surgery and just not knowing whether or not they can count on him coming back at that cap number. So, yeah, they kind of found themselves in an unfortunate spot there, especially after they gave all the money to Chris Jones and Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes and all these guys. I mean, they got a shitload of superstar players on big contracts on that team. This is their window. Obviously, they thought with Patrick Mahomes, the window will probably always be open, but I think they thought it was wide open last year, coming back from the Super Bowl win, maybe next year, maybe even the year after that. So the salary cap going down hurt them. The injuries to those guys hurt them. So I think they are going to. They seem to be able to figure it out, and they seem to be able to make it work. And I've always been of the opinion that offensive line, I feel teams draft linemen way too early. Maybe if you can get someone like a Joe Thomas or someone that's going to be just an absolute rock at left tackle for 10 years, you can take him in the top 5 picks. But to me, skill position players are what really win you games and are really what make teams. And so I think teams draft those offensive linemen and pay them too much money in free agency too often. So I think they're just banking on they're going to try to rebuild that line. They're going to try and get some guys in the draft. Maybe someone comes up in free agency. Maybe they can make a trade that's a little bit safer play at a little of a cheaper number.
You a little bothered by the Fisher release though?
No, because like I said, he was good, but he wasn't great. He wasn't some irreplaceable tackle, I don't think.
But we saw the Super Bowl, man. That he was there for the Niners Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He blew out his Achilles, right? That was in the AFC the AFC Championship game.
AFC Championship game against Buffalo.
Yep.
And then they released him. They released him before he even made it back to the field. I kind of think that was premature, man. I don't know enough about him. I don't know enough about him, but I know that they're not falling off the tree right now. You know what I'm saying? So
no, they have a little bit more time to replace him than they had between the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, though. So
yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
And
didn't
do you think someone will go on, Cole? Sorry
to cut in, Scott. Didn't your former safety Eric Berry had a torn Achilles? How long until he came back?
Yeah, he came back. He had some sort of Achilles issue that kept him out for like a whole year. And then he never played again. And he hasn't played for anybody else. So, and it wasn't even a torn. It was some weird thing where he had pain, and they call this deformity in your heel where you have like a bone spur that like almost rubs against your Achilles, like saws it over time. And so they were wondering if he was going to have some. That was a whole weird deal that no one even really knows because the team was real hush-hush, and Eric Berry never talked about it.
But he got back onto the field eventually.
It might have been a big bunch of bullshit.
He got back onto the field eventually, though, didn't he?
No.
What's that?
Eric Berry eventually got back onto the field, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did there in that AFC Championship game against the Patriots. But he never played again after that. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely concerning. I'm not saying that the the concern level isn't up a little bit. You know, the alert lights hasn't gone off a bit because you're losing your starting and your both tackles from your Super Bowl team 2 years ago. Like John said, Mitch Schwartz was 4-time All-Pro and 5-time Pro Bowl the last 5 years. He was the best right tackle in the league. There's really not much argument to that. That's going to be hard to replace. They were able to, but they had to this year. They still were able to make it to the Super Bowl. So it's just they're going to have to make smart moves, and they're going to have to go out and they're going to have to rebuild that line and find the right guys at the right numbers. And can they do it?
Once again,
that's two different.
Once again,
answers,
what do you want with Mike McGlinchey? What the hell?
I don't know.
Do you want with Mike McGlinchey? We don't even want that with Mike McGlinchey.
Take him.
He's available.
If you come for him, I'm telling you, you better give us a damn first round pick. I ain't taking nothing less.
Yeah,
we already have
trash as he is.
We got D Ford with a fucked up back. You owe us something. God damn it.
I could not believe when the 49ers made that trade and gave D Ford all that money. I was like,
I knew it.
John Lynch will forever.
And then to give him an injury guarantee. Why would you give D Ford an injury guarantee?
No, he's been in the gym working every
players.
day. You know that? You know that he's been working out.
I don't give a shit what he's been doing.
We might actually have to extend him to make some.
Has he been on the goddamn field?
No, sir. I
agree
with you.
I don't give two shits about what he does.
But we might have to extend him to free up some money to cut him later.
D4 can extend these nuts. Oh, he can.
Yeah, so like, the Chiefs, they got
by the looks.
Guys, while you're talking,
he has been doing it.
When you mentioned McGlinchey, then you brought it to the Niners, because obviously Trent Williams said one sentence this week, and all the Niners fans went absolutely crazy.
They do that, and we were barking up the right tree.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one. So, I mean, Mr. Rogers, I don't know the cap situation. Can you, and if you can, do you sign Trent Williams? I mean, how often do you get two Super Bowl teams with windows wide open and number one free agent, arguably one of the best in the game? And he's going to get paid by 49ers or somebody else. Can you and do you sign him and go win a Super Bowl, or is it not worth it for like 3 years, 4 years? You might get out of him.
I mean, if you got rid of Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz because you had cap issues, how are you going to go sign some other high dollar superstar guy? I don't think it's going to happen.
The draft is where they're
even with
the draft, and they drafted.
You're paying a quarterback $500 million fucking dollars. What the hell are we talking about here? When the fuck did that matter? Jesus Christ!
Talk your shit, John.
Yeah, have you got $500 million for a left tackle?
Talk your shit.
John, you're gonna become a meme with that one. You're gonna become a meme. He is. Hey, John's gonna become a meme in seconds. You're paying a quarterback $500 million fucking dollars.
Trouble was, I nearly had to rip my headphones off because it was fucking hypersonic in my ears, man. What the fuck was that all about?
How'd you go from Mike McGlinchey to that? That was amazing.
I mean, you have the money for 2 Ferraris. You know what I'm saying? Like.
There's been some high-pitched shit going through my ears.
I'm just saying, I don't want to hear Kansas City talk about we can't pay people when you negotiated the highest contract known in any sport for any goddamn individual. I mean, Jesus Christ. There's not a motherfucker on the planet worth $500 million. I don't give a shit what you do. I don't care if you hit 2 hole-in-ones in 2 fucking days. You are not worth $500 million. You can throw frisbees and buckets through the woods and around the corner and every other motherfucking thing, and ain't nobody worth $500 million fucking dollars.
Is that an option for a job? Where'd you sign up for that job? I want to do that.
I'll have a go. I'll have a go at throwing
come on
frisbees in the woods.
It was
fucking
10 years,
right,
though, John. Too. It wasn't
I know. I guess it is what it is.
That's where the money's at. They don't
look.
have the money
you know what?
Because they gave a shitload to that guy. You know, I mean.
But you know what? They gave him all that money knowing that they were going to have a decade to restructure. How many times do you think he's going to restructure that paycheck?
Oh, yeah. It hasn't been a year since restructured it already, right? So,
well, I mean, I really don't know that they foresaw the fact that they were going to have to cut both fucking tackles prior.
No.
I don't know, man. I mean, they did negotiate this contract during the COVID pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I'm not,
And like I said, the injury situations with those guys and the cap going down were two things that they obviously couldn't see when they were building and going through the numbers and signing guys to extensions and giving Pat his money. So, the unforeseen is obviously for unforeseen. So you can't really plan for it. I don't know. Have you guys ever remember the salary cap going down? I don't ever remember that happening.
No,
no, I've never seen it.
Went up.
Usually salary cap is always on an uptick.
Exactly.
I gotta go, guys. Love the chatting with you guys. The only thing I will, the thank you for educating me on that, Mr. Rogers, because I had that idea. I just wanted to talk to a person who was a fan to get some better understanding, because you follow them more closely than I do. I'm still mad
work to do, no doubt.
Oh yeah. There's always work to do. Lovely talking to you guys. Nice to meet you, Danny. Good on you.
Good.
Craig, make sure that next mock draft says that we're drafting Patrick Surtain and/or Caleb Farley, or I'll have to fly to the UK, and we ain't talking.
I'll sort him out for you, Dion.
Well,
it
may
there you go.
Well, Dion, it may be sooner rather than later, because obviously I posted a tweet saying that the NFL are going to let the Jags know if they're going to play at Wembley.
Well, look,
and I've looked over the home games that the Jags have. Yeah, the 49ers one looks enticing.
Well, that's great. Then that means that I'll be there.
And
Craig, if I don't get my damn offensive lineman, or if I don't get something, I'm gonna find you. We're gonna have a long drink, because this ain't gonna work. Can't keep giving us these damn crappy players. You're good. You're good at your draft. You're great at what you do, sir. You really are. You have everything right. You just gotta fix what the 49ers are doing. That's all. Not bad.
Dion, go. When you got 5 minutes, go to ukdraft.co.uk, read mock draft 3.0, see what you think about the updated pick. I'm telling you now, it's not Trey Lance.
That one's specifically for us, brother.
That sounds like mock
okay,
draft
wait. Look,
to me.
Craig, you throw that link in my DM on Twitter. I'm gonna definitely take a look at that. If it is, it's definitely gonna be well worth it. Y'all have a good day, fellas.
Later, D.
Dion, it's been great. Take care.
See you soon, Dion.
He didn't say goodbye to Potato Guzzler.
That's disappointing.
He's still watching?
No,
Please tell me he's still watching.
No, he's not.
Quiet. We're very quiet.
He's gone quiet since I called his fucking arse out. That's what it is.
He's gone dark.
Right now, he could have done. Now I love this subject because it's about Seattle, and I love this. If this happens, I will. I love it.
You're going to buy a Bears jersey.
Russell.
Let Russ cook.
Let Russ cook. I actually
let Russ simmer. Let Russ simmer, not cook.
I actually have a Brian Urlacher jersey, and I also have one of the greatest ever linebackers ever to play jersey from Chicago. Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. People think he's flying to Chicago. They're going to break the bank. No. They're going to do this, do that. Me personally, I can't see it. And that little fucker is still going to be running all over the place against the Niners for at least another couple of seasons. I just can't. Seattle not having Russell Wilson would be like Montana in his prime leaving the 49ers. John, what say you?
He made his bed. I don't fucking come at the media and your team and your coaches in the front office because you don't have anybody. You fucking sucked all the money up, dude. We just talked about this. You didn't take a pay cut. They negotiated a big fucking contract, and you reap what you sow. I don't feel sorry for you one fucking bit. You didn't give them any other choice. They couldn't invest in an offensive line, paying him stupid money to run around like a track star. I don't feel sorry for him at all. But I also don't see him going before Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is 70 years old, and and I think before they will cut ties with Pete Carroll before they ever let him leave. However, the Bears are a fucking dumb enough organization, and I'm going to get my dick cut off for that because I've got someone very close to me that loves the Bears. I'm telling you, they will give up 5 first-round picks. They will give up they'll give up everything. And I don't see how it changes the situation. They're no better on the front line than Seattle. He'll just become a Chicago Seahawk running around in Chicago, freezing his fucking ass off. And that's it. I'm kind of torn because I feel like there could be a possibility, Scott. I'm not kidding, dude. I reserve a little bit of doubt that he leaves. I believe he might leave, but he looks like an asshole right now because you're the reason why your team cannot protect you. That's all I got. That's all I got.
But isn't it delicious, the thought that Russie Wussy fucks off?
I love it.
Else.
I love watching my rivals
all of a sudden
deteriorate. Yes.
That chewing gum eating motherfucker with white hair on the sideline becomes
I hope he
the next Bill Belichick. I love it. I'm sorry. I don't care where he goes. I honestly don't care where he goes. But just go.
I don't want him in the NFC, Nick. I don't.
It will just be delicious. Yeah, but
how can they refuse 5 first-round picks? How can you turn that down? How can you turn that down?
They did, but then that puts him above Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry, as good as Russie Wussy is,
he's a Super Bowl winner and a first ballot Hall of Famer, Nick. Regardless of how we feel,
I'm still taking Deshaun Watson over Russell. If it was my choice and the Niners were going to had the choice of the two, I would still take Deshaun Watson any given Sunday. And as good as Russell Wilson is,
I don't know that I can agree, and that breaks my fucking heart, man. I think that Russell Wilson has shown us a metric fuck ton more than Patrick Mahomes has. I mean, I'm sorry, than Watson has. I think that he has shown us more. Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl champion. Let's not take that away from him as much as I fucking hate his guts. He's accomplished more, Nick. He has. And the fact that Chicago would be willing to give up all that capital to get him and not make a run at Watson concerns me even more. They had an opportunity to get Watson as much as anyone else, and they fucked it up.
Russell
fucked around and traded up, traded down, skipped over him.
I think Russell Wilson, both Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson have a no trade clause in their contract. So regardless, neither of them would have gone to the Bears anyway.
You think so?
No, I don't. I honestly don't. I think Wilson is staying in Seattle. I just
for one more year. You don't think we're back here again next year talking this shit? I guarantee
if the same problems are still the same as what it is now, i.e., like the offensive line is just fucking killing him, and the defense is shit, then we'll be having this conversation again. But
do you believe that his height plays a role in his efforts to fall short? Do you believe that? I've heard this argument that there's a high percentage of throws that he has missed 10 and 15 yards over the offensive line, just outside the line of scrimmage. I believe that maybe that stands. Maybe that is holding him back. Do you believe that at all?
I do. I do in some ways. He does have. I mean, he's a Super Bowl champion. He has got nothing. He's got nothing else to prove. Once you've won the big time, then it's like, okay, let's try and do this again. But he's never.
Can the Legion of Boom be responsible for that?
Yeah, the Legion of Boom is responsible for that. But I will also blame Pete Carroll for this because the first Super Bowl, it was basically all about it was the defense, and it was all about beast mode. In the Super Bowl 49 against the Patriots, you pretty much had it was pretty much a dead cert, but that was going to go in for a touchdown. You give the ball to beast mode at the 1 yard line. But because Pete Carroll wanted Russell Wilson to have all the glory and all that, they decided to pass to the 1 yard line. And look what happened. Malcolm Butler had exactly the same play caught on him in the regular season. He read that perfectly. Give the ball to beast mode. Seattle win it back to back. End of conversation on that.
Makes me feel sick just even you saying back-to-back Super Bowls. Craig, what do you think about the Russell Wilson situation?
That's right, Izzy. Malcolm Butler right there.
Yeah,
Guarantee.
Malcolm Butler
made me happier than I could have ever been. That
you know
was
what?
wonderful.
I'd have Malcolm Butler retire as a Niner on one leg just for that one.
Well, he is
play.
a free agent. He is a free agent. So
yeah, we're not.
We need secondary help.
But
Nick, post that
The only
comment right there because that's true too. From Khalid.
From Cully. Maybe Seattle should have kept those draft picks instead of giving up all that draft capital to get Jamal Adams. Then they could fix their O-line.
There you go.
I think Jamal Adams.
That's an even better point.
I think Jamal Adams is overrated. Yes, he can stop the run, and yes, he can blitz the quarterback. Coverage, he's dog shit. Sorry,
he can't make up for all their faults. He can't make up for all their misfortunes.
Exactly. Carl, what do you think? Is he leaving Seattle? Is he staying in Seattle? Is he still doing his cornball shit that everyone is sick and tired of because he's Mr. Unlimited?
Carl's gone away. Don't know where you get it.
Craig.
I'll answer for him, though. That's fine. I'll have a go, seeing as Carl's wandered off.
I did mean, sorry, Craig. I actually.
Oh, you did mean me, did you? Oh Christ! You're another person giving me the wrong name this week. Then wow.
But you know the funny thing is, I had a text from Specsavers about going for an eye test. They've sent me a letter. It must have been so fucking small I've missed it because I couldn't see it with or without my glasses. So, Craig,
Specsavers. What the hell kind of a name is that?
Oh, it's an optician. Now, if I take these off, I literally cannot see nothing. If I put these on. You are a little bit in focus, but I still can't see shit. Anyway,
Scott, Craig. You hear that, dude? Specsavers. Jesus Christ. You guys cracked me up over there, man.
John, stop dissing our British. We have Specsavers.
They make adverts with quotes in that everybody knows. Like, exactly. we are quoting those things on a daily basis, Pretty proud British institution.
You guys got some funny shit. That's all.
A little quick quirk about Specsavers. They actually sponsor the referees in the Premier League soccer. So that because people were complaining.
You know what? I might have actually seen it because I do watch my fair share of ball. So yeah, I might have seen the ad. I think Specsavers is hilarious. That's some funny ass shit. Over here, that would be like Go on, my bad. Go on.
I was just going to say, after all of this talk about Specsavers, no one's going to give a crap what I think about Russell Wilson.
No, I listen. I want to hear your take. Go ahead.
There is no chance he's leaving, and I say that because. They gave him a say in who they hired as their new offensive coordinator. He's effectively he is now helping to run that team. He's got his choice of coordinator. He knows that he is going to have a say in running his offense. He knows he is going to have a say in who they bring in to protect him. He knows he is going to have a say in how they're going to play offensively next season. Why would you walk away from that? Why would you invest the time in helping to choose that coordinator and working with him if then actually going to go, you know what, I'll waive my no trade clause and disappear off to New Orleans or Chicago or wherever? Like he's playing for Seattle next season.
They're making a
Full
strong. They're making a strong argument, man. I mean, they're making headlines, which is not something that they've done before. I mean, he's either just trying to light a fire under their ass, or But then again, do you think he had a say in the Adams trade? Do you think that they negotiate everything with him, or just things that pertain to him? Coordinator.
I think it's new.
Sorry,
I think it's a new thing. I was just going to say, I think this is something new. I don't think they've done it before, and I think one of the reasons that this noise is in the media is because Wilson has said to the Seahawks, either you get me involved in these things, you let me have a say in leading this offense, you let me choose who my coordinator is going to be, you let me do what I want to do. And the offensive coordinator is the first piece. Clearly, the media offensive is still going on, presumably to try and make sure he keeps that leverage and that he gets to do what he wants to do.
But you're sitting back and you're watching the Adams trade, and you're sitting there, you're going, well, what the fuck? You just invested all this capital into the secondary, and where is my protection? So, I mean, he saw the dominoes fall, man, and he knows where he has to see the writing on the wall on that trade, right? I mean, he knew that they weren't investing in the line. So I believe that there's something that we don't know. There may be some ripples there that we have no idea. There's got to be more to it than that. Don't you think? I mean,
well, but equally, you look at the two Super Bowl sides we've just talked about in the Legion of Boom. That was built on having, a powerful, hard-hitting secondary that could also cover. And Jamal Adams isn't the greatest coverage guy, but he'll come up and smack you in the face. And maybe that's what Pete Carroll's thinking, and maybe that's what the Seahawks thinking is, can we recreate something that looks like those Super Bowl teams? And that's what the Jamal Adams trade is all about.
If Jamal Adams can get near you, he'll kick you upside the head. But unfortunately, his coverage skills are average at best. He's a box safety. You bring him in the box, you know that he's going to stuff the run. He's going to go after the quarterback. And I think next year, with any teams that Seattle play, they know that offensive line, obviously, as we speak, is not very good. And I don't know how many sacks Russie Wussy took last year, but he's obviously pissed off with the amount of times he's getting smacked, he's getting sacked. I don't think his height is anything to do with it. I just think he's getting severely pissed off with not having the protection. If he had protection like the Dallas line, like what Mahomes had a couple of years ago, etc., Seattle winning the Super Bowl, irrespective, because he'll do it on his own. He will do it, and it fucking pains me to say it.
Then restructure and spread the money around.
But he won't do that because he's...
Well, then don't bitch about not fucking having protection. That's my point, dude. Like, if you don't want to spread...
I get that. But this is... You're not talking about Tom Brady. You're not talking... And I'm talking personality-wise. Russell Wilson is all about Russell fucking Wilson and his wife. Ciara, whatever her fucking, I don't know.
Sierra.
But
I get it. I get it. But...
And he's not prepared to sacrifice his earning potential for the good of the team, where Tom Brady did for all those years. And he's doing it again now. And I know Mahomes is you can't even think it, but he's restructured and it's lower and blah blah blah.
I think Breeze has done it. I think Breeze has done it a few times as well.
Yeah, for the good of the team.
Yeah,
right?
for the greater good.
But
so you don't think that this is a case of Tom Brady did something somewhere else? You don't think that a lot of these guys are trying to recreate? They're a Super Bowl champion wants another shot at another Super Bowl, and maybe Russ doesn't see it happening in Seattle.
Yeah, I do you know what, John? You could have hit the nail right on the head there, because he And if I was Russell, I'd be fucked off because he's an elite first round Hall of Famer and he's getting his ass kicked every fucking week. It doesn't matter who you play. Even a shit defense is getting to him because of that offensive line. And we saw in the earlier part of last season, right, all this let Russ cook. And he was cooking. Whatever happened, he was producing. And then all of a sudden, a switch went or something happened, and he was dog shit after that. He was awful. And I don't know whether it was
because he can't make the fucking throws. He can't make the short throws. He's always going deep for Lockett or Metcalf. Cover one or both, and you've cut his legs off. I mean, they don't even have a fucking run game. They've gone through 6 running backs in fucking 3 seasons. Like, half the time, I don't know, man. I just think that Russ sees something that we don't, or he just flat out believes, Nick, that maybe we can't get it done here. Maybe we can't get it done here.
I think, and I hope, God, I hope, that he feels that it's time to cut ties. It's time for a fresh new start. And he moves to wherever he moves to. And
so you're going to go Bears?
If the Bears, I know the coach is not even intriguing, Scott, right? I mean,
what, Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, the GM?
Yeah, yes. I don't know why. I don't know what's so intriguing. I guess there's a history in Chicago. They got a good defense. They've always had a good defense. Maybe he sees similar traits to the Legion of Boom in Chicago. And I don't see what's so goddamn inviting in Chicago. I don't see a coach there that is going to be a Hall of Fame coach. I don't know. I don't know. Of all the fucking places in the world, I don't know why. Maybe it's because Chicago's the only dumb fucking place that'll give you 5 first-rounders and a bag of chips. I don't know.
Is it me or
and whereas one franchise will be dumb enough to actually do that, there's also another franchise that's dumb enough not to trade the asset when you know you got fuck all in your bank.
Yeah, you can't. If you're the Seahawks, you can't get rid of Russell Wilson, man.
No, I don't think you should from their aspect.
It's the same thing with the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson. You can't trade Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry. You, as a franchise, you can't do it.
Now they're severed though, Scott.
I don't care.
I agree with you, but I still see the other side of the coin. And
then you know what you do if you're the Texans. You let him sit and you make him the bad guy. If you trade Deshaun Watson, your fan base is dead to you. You will never recover from that as an organization. You tell him, you're really going to sit out your prime years and not play and not make this money on this contract that you have signed with us, then do it. That's what you do if you're the Texans. If you're the Seahawks, you do not trade Russell Wilson away in his prime. It's crazy to me.
I know you say that, Scott. I know you say that, but you've also got to look at Watson could possibly move. No one knows. And I put Russell in that same window, right? They may have to do a rebuild, reboot, whatever. But you can let the player sit and make them look the bad guy. But there's no way Seattle let Russell Wilson sit. And there's no way the Texans are going to let Watson sit. They're just not.
It's bad for the league if Watson sits. It was a bad look for Le'Veon Bell. It'd be a terrible look for Deshaun Watson. It's bad for the league.
I keep hearing all these people saying that Watson has all the leverage. He doesn't. He's under contract. The Houston Texans have all the leverage.
You're right.
And you make him sit. You say, okay, you call his bluff. You tell him, say, okay, then sit, and let's see you do it. Because he's not going to sit his prime years and forfeit all that money in his contract.
That's a fuck ton of money, man.
He's not.
But he's all. But you say that, but he's already made a lot of money, and I can't remember. I did see a figure.
Not that much.
Nick,
he's in the first
you can't let
time contract.
Yeah, he just negotiated a $160 million contract in September.
Okay, all right, okay. So Deshaun Watson, he says, right, I'm sitting it out, and
and you suck, and you blame him. If you trade him away, you're going to suck, and you don't have anybody else to blame.
And the problem is, the problem is, you look at this year's draft class, the quarterback class is absolutely stacked. It's outstanding. You go to next year's draft, please someone name me a quarterback in that draft that's actually going to take the world by storm, because there's nothing that screams at me.
Okay, we're all Houston
Sam
fans.
Howell.
Hang on. We're all Houston fans for a second, right? We're all Houston fans for a second, and the Texans say, "Fuck you, Watson. We're not playing you." And they go 0-16. Carl, who are you blaming? Are you blaming the team, or are you blaming Watson?
I'm going to go higher up here, and I'm going to blame fucking Cal McNair and Jack Easterby for the fuck ups that they've caused.
Okay, so you're blaming the team. You're not blaming the player. You're blaming the front office. Danny, you're a Texan fan. Who are you blaming?
Yeah, I'm a big Texan fan. Yeah, so I think you go team. I think you go team, really. And I wonder, like, is this a new era of the NFL where every year, or maybe I'm just imagining things because there's two high profiles this year. Is this something we're now going to see every year? Since Le'Veon Bell, like, massively high profile, did it a few years back. Are we going to see this now? Next year, you'll be on this show and it'll be two other people. Is this going to be normal now that players opt out and choose not to play? GMs say the wrong thing at a wrong meeting, or they don't have the power. You know, is this going to be normal for the NFL? That's my thoughts on it.
I think
the difference with the Le'Veon Bell thing was they franchise tagged him. They didn't really have him under contract, so he could sit out 1 year and then go to somebody else. Go elsewhere, year.
It's these multi-years, isn't it? That's the issue.
Yeah, in the position where if he sits, he's going to be sitting for a long time.
Yeah.
It was a terrible look for Le'Veon Bell, man.
I'm blaming the player for not playing. There's 52 other guys on the team that are fucking playing, that are honoring their contract. I'm not blaming the team. I'm blaming Deshaun Watson. You're the one choosing not to play because you're not getting your way. There's 52 other guys on the team that are signing up and say they're going to play and honor their commitment.
Khalid's got a point too. I mean,
sorry, John. Go ahead.
No. That's fine. I was just agreeing with Khalid. That's all. Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, Izzy.
Yeah,
you're making me click on, click off. I don't know what's going on. Texans. If JJ turned them, I don't see why Watson just has not to suck it up. Craig, not Carl. What's your thoughts?
Craig, not Carl. I mean, Mr. Rogers has a massive point here, right? You got 52 other guys. I mean, it'd be 53 if he sits out. 53 other guys turning up, giving their all for the franchise, honouring their contract. So you sort of have to say, you know what, at some point Watson does have to turn up and he does have to do something. But maybe that's not this year, and maybe somebody does need to take the stand and say, you know what, I'm not going to put up with what was said, what's been done, what's happened here. You know, as a player, I expect you to be giving me and the rest of the guys on this team a chance to win, and not just trading away DeAndre Hopkins for next to nothing, and not just letting JJ Watt leave for free, and not just doing these things that are actually hamstringing our franchise. I want to be on a winner, and you guys need to recognize that you've got to do the right thing by all of us. We all want to win, and if you're not going to do that, if you're going to hand away some of our best assets for nothing, what's the point in me putting my neck on the line, play after play, week after week, for you guys? Yeah, okay, I'm earning some money, but I want to win, and that's the difficult thing here. So if I'm a Texans fan and I'm Watson ends up sitting out this season, I'm sort of hoping he comes back the following year, and that they find some way to reconcile that relationship. But I think it's a hard one, and fans will be sitting there going, they'll be on one side of the argument or another, won't they? You're not going to. So I'd probably go team because of the other things that they've done would be the way I'd lay the blame. But I think you're absolutely right, Mr. Rogers. There's got to be a bit of, at some point, he's got to turn up and he's got to play because the rest of the guys are putting their necks on the line as well.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think he'll sit. I don't think he'll sit out. I think he calls bluff.
I don't think he will.
Plays.
Yeah, I don't think he'll sit either.
The DeAndre Hopkins thing was beyond fucking dumb of them to do. But the J.J. Watt move, with as much help as that team needs on defense and overall, overpaying J.J. Watt at this point in his career, I think it was smart to let him go somewhere else and let somebody overpay for that name and what he had done in the past. Because you look at the last few years, he hasn't fucking played. He's been hurt all the time. And the one thing that doesn't help injuries is age. So I don't think that you can look at them letting J.J. Watt go and use that as, we don't want to win. I think that may actually help them win.
I think J.J. Watt, the J.J. Watt thing was definitely a brand thing. It wasn't you're not getting the J.J. Watt of 4 or 5 years. You're just not.
No, I think J.J. Watt saw it falling apart, man.
But he's one of those players now, like running backs who get to a certain point and they're over the hump and they're on that downward curve. He's one of them. Been injured the last few years. Great player in his prime, and I've watched a lot of Texan games and I've seen him play against the Niners a lot, and he's been a non-factor. So
same against
he's got his last payday. Good luck to the guy. And it is going to be so interesting, the Deshaun Watson. I don't think the Niners or any team should give up. Well, we were talking about 5 first-round picks, whatever. For them to give up even 3 or Bosa, and that is just fucking ridiculous.
David, when I saw Bosa come on, they started rumoring Bosa going as well, and you're like 3 or 4 years worth of first-round picks and our best defensive player. What? Yeah,
it's ridiculous. He is a building block for a lot of teams. You saw what happened when the Raiders gave up Khalil Mack, etc. It's ridiculous. Okay, David Culley. Sorry. Carry on. Whoever that was, sorry.
I just want to say real quick, I think the demise fell when O'Brien chased. I think there were problems with the head coach, with DeAndre Hopkins. I think the chips started to fall there. Once he left, I believe that toxic just kind of ran through. Izzy's talking about it. It's a toxic situation in Houston, and they're blowing up the roster. If it's a rebuild for them, if they can get multiple picks and a defensive stud from somebody for then I guess you take it. I mean, or Scott, you're not wrong either. I don't disagree with you entirely. I think you're right. I mean, you call his bluff, make him play.
A good argument. You everything you're saying, John, is well thought out and smart. And is very you could defend that position. He's one of the top 2 or 3. He's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion.
Right.
You can't trade that away. That is so fucking hard to come by.
But do you want that fractured relationship? Do you really want to make a man do something where you must stay here or else, or we're paying you? Look, Scott. They negotiated. He was okay with being a Houston Texan in September for $160 million. So you're not wrong by any means of the imagination here. I mean, within the realm of possibility, something bad happened, and it's beyond the fact that he didn't get a say in the coach. Listen, you haven't done a fucking thing to deserve the right to negotiate who we bring here until you win a Super Bowl. Or give us a championship in the playoffs. I don't agree with the player. I don't believe that your franchise quarterback has to be invested in the decisions that the franchise makes until you've done something to make it your business. You've got to seriously
But John, sorry, John. I was just going to say the problem is though they're not giving him a chance to. Like, tell me, and this is what I was going to say just before. Show me another leader on that Texans roster. They just don't have anybody right now.
They did have another leader, and he fucked off.
But isn't
exactly, and this is totally my point. They haven't given Watson the chance to win.
I see your point.
You
can't
lead from the bench if you're not playing and you're a shadow of yourself. JJ Watt, the leadership part of that goes with the playing. A lot of it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I understand everything John and that everybody's saying, but I mean, you just can't get rid of that bat. That's so fucking hard to find. It's impossible to find.
I mean, I understand that, Scott, right? But surely player power is bullshit, right? You can't have one player dictating who the coach is, who the offensive coordinator is, who the this, that, who cleans the fucking kit. Is bullshit. I don't care how good you are.
Right. No, yeah, you're the player and we're the coaches and you got the general manager. And here's the other thing. If I'm another team, do I really want to sell the farm for a guy who maybe in a year doesn't like the way things are going and is threatening to sit out?
That's why he only wants to go to certain destinations.
No. I mean, if I'm another team, I'm thinking, well, shit, I might be in the boat. It's like if you ever messed around with a chick that was married or had a boyfriend, and she went, and they
look at everybody is like,
I don't mean you.
I'm going to defer the question.
Nick, you told me this was about football, man.
Let me
Time out.
Let me rephrase the question. Have you ever seen somebody who messed around with a married woman and the married woman left them and went to them? And then what happens? Now you're the husband that's getting cheated on. Yes. You trade for Deshaun Watson, and in a year or two, he doesn't like what you're doing. So now he wants out of there too. And now you're fucked. You're in the same boat the Texans are in now. You're going to give up a shitload of capital for that? No, I'm not. I'm not doing it if I'm another team. If I'm another team, I'm not going to give up 3 or 4 first-round picks and my best defensive player for a guy who might be trying to force his way out in a year. I'm not doing it.
Because again, yeah, exactly. He could trade to whatever team, doesn't matter who a player is. Yeah, you know, they sign this team, they hold the shirt up, how wonderful, blah, blah, blah. They go 2-14, they suck. And then all of a sudden it's, well,
I want out of here
anymore, and I don't know why I came here.
You got rid of my best buddy. Or you re-signed this guy.
Exactly.
You should have signed.
Exactly.
It's the coach. I just don't. You can't. I don't see a team doing.
You're right, Scott. I mean, Craig. I see your point, guys. I guess it's like what Melissa's saying over here. I mean, there are multiple quarterbacks that have been in multiple positions where they've been distraught, whether they couldn't be protected, whether ownership or the front office or the head coach. There has been shit across the board. And I guess, look, you know, you signed on the line, right, for $160 million. They hold you to it. They have every right to hold you to it, Scott. So I'm not going to, Craig, I see your point. I do. I get one of us has to, you can't blame me for trying, right? I mean, I'm looking for one side of the coin.
Everything you're saying is like I said, you can defend that position and it makes lots of sense and there's a lot of logic to it and it's well thought out. But to me, if you've got one of the top 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the league, you can't trade them away because they're next to impossible to replace. I don't care about your rebuild. How many years have the fucking Bengals been rebuilding and the Jets been rebuilding and these other teams rebuild? You don't have the quarterback. It fucking doesn't matter. Like, so I don't.
Yep. No, I agree. Right. Now, the next subject is still... Sorry, yeah, Craig, go ahead, and then we're going to move on. Craig, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just wanted to come in on the trade scenario, just based off what Scott was saying a minute ago. Like, I hear you. I totally understand everything you've said. My one... and I think there's probably only one team for me that could take on Deshaun Watson and would tick the right boxes for him. and probably would tick all the boxes in terms of being able to give up the trade capital as well, and that's the New York Jets, because you look at what they've got. You know, they can give up the number 2 pick. The Texans have immediately got themselves the ability to go and get Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, whoever they want there at 2. So you can go in and replace that guy. Now, yes, you're rolling the dice on a rookie, but you've got the opportunity. They've got the draft capital this year and next year to be able to go and give that haul of picks. They've got the cap space to be able to use Deshaun Watson as a marketing tool in free agency. And they've got the coach that Deshaun wanted in Houston. So
yeah, it's interesting.
That's the one place I can
they've
see it
also
landing.
been a broken franchise for decades as well. So nothing to surprise with the New York Jets.
The other interesting point just about that is when you started talking, Craig, John's dog lost his fucking mind when you mentioned the Jets.
When John Dog speaks, that's the.
We know because Pete's been on this show and he's talked some absolute garbage, and John's dog has gone berserk. And I think we've got a special guest with Mr. Rogers as well. Has gone down in the basement as usual.
Yeah,
our little starlet that always comes on.
Right. Yeah, she didn't want to get on camera. Apparently, she was bringing me a gummy worm. So.
Oh well, that's good. At least you're getting fed and you're not locked down in the basement, Scott.
Right.
That's the main thing.
Right.
I haven't seen this next subject. It's still on the Texans. I haven't seen it, so I don't know what goes on, Carl. So, Carl,
I've done a little. I typed up a little piece on it this morning before coming on. I'm just going to basically what I've just written. Okay, so obviously David Culley had a news conference either yesterday or on Thursday. I can't remember which way it was. Let's just say it was rather awkward with what he was being asked. Reporters said to David Culley, asked him if there's any chance that you could change Deshaun Watson's mind about, not sitting out, hopefully not getting traded and staying for the season. His response was, I don't know about him not wanting to be a Houston Texan, but from hearing the outside, I just know he's a Texan. He's ours, and we're going to go with that. This is a coach towing the company line here, avoiding any obvious storyline because it's embarrassing for his bosses. There's probably not much he can do here to wiggle out of this. He is in an awful position. It's just that him trying to pretend the most pressing issue facing the team doesn't exist makes him look unprepared for the job. Carrying water for bumbling decision makers Cal McNair and Jack Easterby adds some credence to the idea that he was given the job precisely because he would not have the leverage to push back on them. The most disappointing part of all of this, though, was that his chance of becoming a head coach has come with a broken franchise that leaves him in the position of trying to answer questions about who made the mess that he inherited and doesn't have the power to clean. It's just sad.
He's basically Steve Bruce.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean,
that's bad. That's bad.
No, Craig, you are 100% correct there. That is exactly that. Yeah, cleaning up the ownership because
that's exactly it.
Does not want to say no. You can go out with the press. You can go deal with it. We'll just sit back and watch this all boil over. It's disgusting what McNair and what Easterby are doing to that poor guy. Yeah. He spent how many years as an assistant coach in the NCAA and in the NFL, being a coordinator for the Ravens as well. He's 65 years of age, and he ends up going to a franchise that is in complete and utter disarray. He hasn't got a leg to stand on in this organization.
I watched it earlier, and it felt like a PR person who's been in the job for a day and literally been given one line, say this. And then another question comes, and then you go, oh, crap, now what do I say? It felt like the early days of my teaching career where you had to do an assembly in my other schools and stuff, and they say, here's a message for today, go and do it, and you got 2 minutes to prepare. And then all these people are looking at you and firing questions at you, and you're just going, but I was only supposed to say this bit. No, I don't know where to go from here. And I really felt for him because, like you say, years and years and years. And that's one of your first, interviews. And obviously in interviews in terms of getting the media coverage, that's the message you give out. not for want of trying. You could see he was trying, but just kind of, I mean, rock and a hard place doesn't even begin to sum it up. Poor guy.
It's not
I really felt for him.
As I said, I've not seen the interview. John, have you seen the interview these guys are talking about? Does it smack of Jimmy Tom Sula when he was put in as a coach of the Niners and just basically fucked off in front of the cameras and had to be a yes man when you knew he wasn't the guy?
He has to be the yes man right now. He has to be, because they have nobody else and they're committed to him, they're saying, and they have control of his rights until like 2028. Deshaun Watson is on record for saying, I never want to play for this franchise again, quote unquote. And that's it. I mean, so yes, he's got to be the yes man, and he's saying all the right things, because what the hell else can he say? He's our guy. He's a Houston Texan. We have no contingency plan. So if he chooses to sit out, that's it. Nick, I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell anybody expects Cully to say.
It made me
What's he
wonder.
supposed to say?
It made me wonder what
you. He said exactly what you say, John. You're 100% right. What you do is you go on the TV and you sit there and you toe the company line, and then you get Deshaun Watson off to the side and you say, "Look, man, what do you like to do? You like to play golf? Do you like to go bowling? You like what do you?" And he goes, "I like to go fishing." You know, and you're okay. We're gonna go out. We're gonna go get a charter boat. We're gonna go out here in the Gulf of Mexico, go do some fishing. And you get out there with him and you say, "Listen, man, fuck those guys, okay? But here's the deal: they own the team. They write the checks. I'm in your corner. I've got your back. I'm gonna go to bat for you behind closed doors. We're working this thing out. We're turning this thing around. We're gonna get you some players. I'm in your corner. Let's go win some games, and let's be a team." And that's the way you handle it. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe he's not smart enough to do that either. Maybe he really is just a yes man, and he's just a puppet to go out there and a figurehead. You know, I mean, that could be 100%. But just because that's what he said in an interview on the camera, that's exact. John, you're 100% right. That's what you got to say on the TV.
In the back of your mind, if you're that guy, what are you saying at the podium to convince anybody otherwise? What are the right words to say? This guy doesn't want to play for you anymore. And Khalid brought it to my attention, which is this has a lot to do with the way that they handle the minorities in the franchise. So now once you bring once you've brought this to light, I still don't understand. That was a huge contract that was negotiated not long ago. So I'm telling you guys, we're missing something huge here. We're missing something big because not getting a chance to discuss or not getting a chance to bring in the coach that you want. I don't know, man. Cully is standing up there. He's between a rock and a hard spot. He's the new guy. I mean,
what's he supposed to do? So come out and say, "Oh yeah, no, the owners and they really fucked this up." Like,
well, yeah, like look,
this team is shit.
You know what? That would be
amazing.
Dude, I would respect him 1,000 times because in Cleveland,
he's not going to say that on TV, man.
No, because
if he just got paid his salary up front, if he'd got paid his salary up front and he can say what he likes, then yeah, they can sack him. It doesn't matter. Yes, Mrs. Carl, I know I've spelt free agency wrong, but I did spell shit right. So yeah, what's he going to come out and say? What is he going to come out and say?
It made me wonder.
I'm a front guy.
It made me think, like, how stupid do they think people are? So surely everybody knows. Maybe 30 years ago without the internet, but fans are educated now. You know, everybody can just Google it for like 30 seconds and find out to a certain extent what's going on. But how do you really think that anybody's going to watch it and go, all right, cool, yeah, Deshaun Watson's coming back. That's all good. I'm glad that's sorted. You know, are they really thinking that people are going to buy that? Or is it just a case of just take, like you were saying, you know, take the attention off for a little bit, will you? You know, just go out and take the attention.
I honestly think fan bases, whatever team, when a new coach comes in, or even even with a coach at the moment, are kind of like, yeah, whatever. I mean, you've only got to look at, and we are going to do a bit of San Francisco talk, not very long because we haven't got long left, but who honestly believes that Jimmy G is going to be the quarterback next year? They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. They're not going to draft a quarterback. They're going to bring all these players. People will believe what anyone tells them until it becomes a fact. And that's the issue. It's all well and good that coach, any coach saying, Deshaun Watson's my QB, you know, in Kansas City. Oh, yeah, we're going to keep that line together. And then they cut those two guys. You know, Atlanta, we're not drafting a QB this year. Matty Ice is still our QB. We're not going to draft anyone. And fuck me, they draft someone high in the draft. You know, New England, same thing again. Oh, yeah, Cam's our guy. We're going to move him forward. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Then they draft a QB. You know, it's all bullshit, basically. Smoke and mirrors. But
then play the reverse card. Play the reverse card. Get up there and shit all over the fucking goddamn owner and the fucking front office and save face. You want me to save Deshaun Watson? You want me to gain his interest to play for our organization? I'm going to go up there. I'm going to throw you under the fucking bus. I'm going to make you guys look like shit, and I'm going to get him back on the fucking boat. Because, I mean, what else do you have? I mean, right now you look like a yes man, and you look like an asshole because you don't. You look like a bitch because you got to go up there and you got to eat shit. You got to tell everybody what they want to fucking hear. Meanwhile, Deshaun Watson's sitting there going, Nope, I'm not playing. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to play for you. I don't give a shit. I don't want to take your calls. I don't want to take your texts. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want don't send a fucking pigeon. I don't want to hear from you. So fuck off, you know? And ultimately, that's what it's come to. Deshaun Watson has expressed his interest. He does not want to play for the organization. He doesn't give a shit, and it's done and over with. And then Cully's like, well, he's our quarterback, and we need him, and we love him, and we support him, and we stand behind him. And meanwhile, he's fucking giving you these. He doesn't give a shit. It's so fucking bad.
And what are you going to do as another player as well? You get to OTAs and Matt Coach tells you to run faster, do more weights, do this. Really? You know, have you really instilled that in your players straight away? Doesn't feel
I don't
like
know.
it.
No, I think it's a very laid back. I think David Culley's quite a bit of a laid back approach to this.
Yeah, but what's he's in such a shit position. Fuck. I mean, I'm a Cavaliers fan. We had a coach that had to deal with LeBron James. You know what? He was like a cardboard fucking pinup. He fucking stuck him on the sideline, and LeBron fucking threw his towel and fucking hit him in the head, fucking covered his eyes. It's like, nobody gives a fuck about you. Like the players, like if Deshaun Watson sticks around and plays, do you think he's going to respect Cully? Do you think he's going to respect anyone? He has disrespected the franchise in ways. Like, they just agreed to your terms, God damn you. They gave you $156 million contract, and now you don't want any part to do with them. I mean, it's
do you know what would be? Do you know what would be really refreshing, John? Like everyone's just said, if everyone actually spoke their mind, can you imagine the conversations and the pressers where like Cully's gone, I love Deshaun. He's going to be our QB next year. We're going to build everything around him, blah, blah, blah. And then Deshaun Watson comes on and says, get the fuck out of here. I'm not playing for your sorry asses.
Way too much money involved to do that.
You got to do something because, I mean, Houston has to do something, Nick.
Yeah,
you got to play. You got to control the situation. The situation has fucking spiraled out of control. It's a bad look for your organization. O'Brien fucked you over. You lost key assets to the team. The team is falling apart. There's no interest. You just brought Ingram there, and you paid him fucking money. Like he's going to sit there and hold fucking Watson's nutsack.
Regarding that, John. Regarding that though, yeah, they brought Mark Ingram in to partner along with David Johnson. That's a pretty good tandem. If it was 2017,
Right.
but it's not.
That's
You're bringing in washed players.
That would be a great running back room like 5
You're
years
not
ago
handling
today.
it. You're not handling it.
Yeah.
That's why I say, you guys, I mean, it's such a fucking fucked up situation. It's so bad. It looks worse than Le'Veon Bell's situation. This was based on a franchise tag that he didn't want, right? So he sat out and let $20 million, left it on the table, walked away from it, ruined his career. He's playing for $1 million, playing for you, Scott, just for $1 million. You know, it's just to me, Houston has to save face by doing something. So either take all the picks and whatever it takes, build your team out of free agency, use the draft, get this fucking situation behind you. I know it goes against everything we say, Scott. I know it, but you know, somebody's got to be the poster boy for don't fuck up.
You got to be able to save the relationship with Watson. There's got to be a way to do it.
I would be impressed if they could do it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it. But listen,
I don't either.
We're going to have to put some subjects over to next week because we got to fill an hour next week because we have the one and only 4-time Super Bowl champion, San Francisco 49er, Jesse Sapolo on next week. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Everyone's plugged where they're doing their shit. I am actually doing a live DJ set tonight on Mixcloud Live on Beat Hubs, 7 p.m. If you go on there and look for Nick Cork, Shank Club NFL, I will be on there later, 7 o'clock. Look, I can't get that fucking technical, Scott. I've only just worked out how to work the fucking decks. I can't do that. But
Decks one day, email the next. Big things, man.
If you go to Mixcloud and then go to live from 7 p.m. UK time, I will be on there spinning some tunes, doing whatever. As I said, next week we got the great man Jesse Sapolo. He is bringing 2 of his Super Bowl rings back on the show. We're going to do a Q&A. We're going to get as many Niner fans through as we can. Carl won't be able to say anything because he's never spoken to a 4-time champion, but hey-ho. Cam Newton's never going to be that guy. Danny, I know you're coming back. Scott, you'll be here.
Thanks for having me.
Craig, if you want to be in, you can come in. Final thoughts. Carl, give me your final thoughts.
Just glad to be back on. Glad to see the full everyone again. Yeah, we got Cam Newton. Shit happens.
It's not going to be that bad, man. I'm telling you.
No, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that bad. But you know,
give him something to give him.
It's a little bit of an anticlimax at the fact we got Cam back again, but. The callback search is not over. Let's see what happens in free agency. But also, I think we're more likely to get a quarterback in the draft now. Whether that'll be a Mac Jones, whether that be Justin Fields or Trey Lance, or we have to trade up for, or could we go for someone like Kellen Mond or Kyle Trask, or even Jamie Newman for that matter? We'll see what happens. But yeah,
it wasn't a bad stretch. It wasn't a bad stretch, Carl. That's all I'll say.
We'll see. We will see.
All I can say is the Patriots got Cam Newton. The Shank Club got Jesse Sapolo. Danny, closing thoughts.
Just thanks, man. It's been good to talk football with people rather than type football with people, you know, on Twitter and all these anonymous strange names that people have. So yeah, man, just cheers. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to free agency madness. Bring it on. Whatever that will bring. There's probably about 50 shows worth of stuff in there. But yeah, man, just nice to chat to some people, see Niners representing, and see you all again, man. I'm looking forward to it.
We always represent the Niners on this show. That you can guarantee,
Yes,
Danny.
sir.
Get your full fanboy on for next Saturday.
You do not need to worry.
Scott, closing comments, my man.
It was good to be back on with you guys. Talk to you, see you all. Danny, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah, same.
You know, if you got any more 49er friends that want to come on the show, you know, we need some more, apparently. So,
You
Oh,
never have
mate,
too many.
I could fill this show up and you wouldn't get your ass on here. But we like having you on here, Scott, because apparently Travis Kelce is still the best tight end in football. Craig, he's not. Craig, your final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Travis Kelce's the best tight end in football. Yeah, that's my final thought.
Oh,
No,
that's it. Right, yeah, that's it. He's gone to the dark side of things.
Damn it!
Finish with a Niners fan. Come on, Nick. Finish with a Niners fan.
I'm not finishing on that. No, I mean it's great to be back after the couple of weeks away. And I think Danny's spot on. Free agency this week is going to be very, very interesting indeed. There's some teams with massive amounts of cap room. We could see some really interesting moves coming up this week, and yeah, we know you're one of them, Carl. So looking forward to talking about that next Saturday. But yeah, great to be back and good to see you all, Danny. Good to meet you finally, and here's to plenty more Shant Club NFLs coming up.
Definitely, every week we go in live. John V.
Always a pleasure, my man. Always a pleasure. Scott, I missed you, brother. Good to see your face again, man.
Hey, man, I was looking at that Royals schedule. I need to come up there for some Indians games this year.
Dude, if we can get some asses in the seats over here, I mean, it's still ugly here, man.
Yeah.
But I hope we can get some butts in the seats, man.
By summertime, they got the vaccine's going to rolled out and everything. So, but
I hope so, man.
Good to see you too, man.
Always a pleasure. By the way, guys. Danny, good to meet you.
Yeah, same, John.
I love the Cleveland Indians just because of Major League, one of the funniest fucking films ever brought out.
It's a classic, man. It's a classic.
It is brilliant.
I love baseball, man. I love baseball. It's one of my favorite pastimes. So, with that being said, Craig, Carl, I enjoyed your show. You guys did. I was watching it at work while I was listening, actually. It got me through. It got me through a night of craziness. But I agreed. I liked your take. The sound effects damn near fucking deafened me. I don't know what the hell you recorded those sound effects on level fucking 100.
Yeah, I need to turn it down a little bit.
But it was a good time. I enjoyed it, man. It was a great take. You guys had great points. I liked it a lot. Hey guys, final thoughts are just as simple as this, man. Kelce is not the best tight end in football. The Niners are on the turnaround. We're going to be back in action, man. I expect us to make a splash here somehow or another. I don't know that we'll light up free agency, but I think we're going to be relevant in the draft. I think we're going to shock a lot of people, and I'm going to save the majority of that for next week. We're going to cover our Niners next week a little bit, hopefully. Other than that, guys, free agency, this coming week is going to be, we're going to raise our eyebrows. We're going to see some things. I don't know. I'm excited. I think this is probably one of the most interesting off seasons in a very long time. And unfortunately, because of COVID, it crippled things and made things a little different, far less than what we're used to, but it forces the league to unload great talent. Gives other teams the opportunity to pick up talent. Some guys are fortunate in this situation, and other teams got to play the cards that they are fucking dealt. And it sucks, but it makes the league interesting. It really makes the league interesting. So that's all I got.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Don't forget, I'm going to plug it again because it's my show and I fucking can. I'm doing a live DJ set in an hour and 45 minutes on Mixcloud, on Beats Hubs. Check it out. Also, one last thing. Thank you to everybody who's reached out. I'm not going to go over it because I will get upset. But people have seen I'm obviously going through some shit. And it's the next few days are going to be hard. I'm going to just try and live for the moment and do what I can do, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing later on with DJing and all that. Thank you to everybody that on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and everyone that's reached out to me. I really appreciate it. If you haven't seen it, is what it is. just want to say, Molly, I love you. And one day we will be back together. I promise you that. Thank you, everyone. This is the Shank Club NFL. On that note, peace.